Man, that song is a banger.
Hey!
I can do this. All right. Welcome back to For Geeks by Geeks, where geeks come to geek out. My name's Farles Barkley.
He did it!
I have a very loud sound in my ear. How are you guys doing? How's everybody doing?
Doing good.
I'm so good.
Right.
I love
Yeah.
sitting over here and having control of all the buttons, but not actually being in charge.
That's
I
right.
don't know how that's different than any other day.
Damn.
Correct.
That's fair. So what's happening tonight is the first season of Cloudscape has come to an end, which I'm sure you guys have recorded way past that. But I have
Surprisingly,
been
no.
allowed-
Joke's on you.
That's fair. Hey, summertime's busy time. I have been allowed to force everyone to sit down and talk about it for the next questionable amount of hours, and I am going to take full advantage of that responsibility. I think the way this is going to work is we'll just like give a brief description of an episode or something, and then I'll ask my questions that I have on my list, and then if anyone else has questions in the chat or the cast or the DM himself, is it DM or GM? What is it in this one? GM?
GM for Fate Core, yeah.
All right. Feel free to ask away or just comment on, what crazy shit happened in that episode, because pretty much nonstop you guys are trying to die.
Like toddlers.
So far unsuccessful. Well, yeah, actually, I don't think Waylon even took much damage in those fights. That's
Not really, yeah.
I was literally trying.
I was bleeding. I bled.
Nobody makes you bleed your own blood.
Before we get too far into the questions, Farles, can we just first thank you for being willing to do this? And when we've done a skydive like mid-season previously, and it was fun, but it was just like all of us talking in an echo chamber, and we're like, who'd be really good leading this discussion is our only fan.
.com.
It's bold of you to say Alec must not be here, so
Alec is a fan of FGBG, but nobody is as big a fan as Farles, at least that we've seen. Like every week, this man in our Discord goes back and listens or watches the episode, and then we'll do a live commentary of reaction in real time of everything that happened. And it's like my favorite thing of the week. And it's just wonderful to know that something we're doing is appreciated by at least one person. And so now that one person is going to sit here and get to talk to us. And
just grill you.
What a reward.
it's okay. Look, I feel like my feelings are going to get hurt, and that's okay.
You're in the military. You'll be fine.
I am a shit player. It's fine. I understand.
I got in at the ground level. That's a good point, and I think we'll get into that a little bit later. Is just this Fate Core seems like it leads itself really to a lot of really good storytelling that a lot of you kind of miss in, especially Dungeons and Dragons. It's a lot just very different. I do have some questions to start off with, kind of like session 0 type stuff. Before I can read what happened in episode 1 because you guys all appeared out of thin air. So if you guys don't remember, we basically met everyone, the whole group in the city of Aurora. There was this really cute scene with Nan where everyone instantly fell in love with her, and Kit was there too. And it was 150 years, the sexy centennial or something of the.
Yeah. No, but I don't care what it really is. It's now the sexy centennial.
Centennial.
I tried pronouncing that 1,000 times earlier today, and I gave up. So
I've never attempted to say that word.
Is that our new
I said it like 3 times in one episode.
I remember that. So there was a big festival happening. And I guess 150 years ago, some crazy event happened, and it involved Zodicium, which destroyed the planet, made it unlivable. Everyone moved to the clouds. There's a bunch of cities up there floating around, having a good time, also getting really high on this drug called X that they're all making, and it's everywhere. What happened this episode? So Kit finds out that Nan is wanted by the Gold family because of her missing dad. And so she's like, oh, I'll take care of this because I'm a badass. Tobias had stolen something. I don't know. Sirkin broke a smut store shopkeeper's finger after buying a book off of him.
Terrifying.
That's what you get for selling a book to Sirkin.
Well,
Which was kind of the
I don't think it was sold.
Oh, it was sold. It was stolen and then sold. He paid for it, and then the guy was absolved of his sins somehow by breaking his fingers.
Exactly.
Theo met with Faust. Talk about some sort of blackmailing. And then he kind of blackmailed him in return. To
Immediately, yeah.
Which was, I mean, pretty on brand. I think you find out later for Theo. And Waylon's doing some cool warehouse shit. Just punching things and being awesome. And Alsvid. Yes, that is exactly what I thought of when I saw it, actually. Alsvid is casing the crowd at the festival. And he ends up trying to, he succeeds in picking Sirkin's pocket in the most ridiculous sequence of events that I could have seen in a first episode. And then, explosion happens and Kit clotheslines a terrorist in an alley. And that is pretty much what happened in the opening episode. It was wild.
You make me wonder how that took 2 hours.
I skipped a lot of the good stuff. Let's see, who was it? Al messed with some light guards that were messing with some people. Really made him look like the Robin Hood kind of character that we all believe he is. For now. Okay, the first couple questions I have for this is for Bozer on just the overall plot. How did you come up with this whole floating city Zodicium sexy centennial combination of things? It's really cool.
Well, good. I'm glad I'm not the only one that thinks it's kind of cool. Strangely enough, when I knew that I was going to DM this campaign, I didn't know what the campaign would be, but I knew I was going to run it, and it was going to be homebrew, both of which are first times for me. I remember coming back from my uncle's funeral. I think I was just driving in the car for a long time, and Caitlin was asleep. And I was just thinking through what would be cool. And I just had this idea of City in the Clouds would be cool. I want some sort of, I was actually inspired by something, but I don't want to say exactly what, because it might be a little too telling for the future. So later down the road, maybe after season 2 or when you guys unveil something, then I'll be a little more forthcoming about my direct inspiration. But I just thought this thing was so cool and I could make a spin on it. And yeah, I wanted a kind of a gritty setting meets some sort of fantasy-esque. I don't know. I was excited about building something brand new and trying not to let it be exactly like something that I already knew existed, even though it's turning more and more into City of Mist, which was our previous campaign. No, yes. Can't improve on perfection.
Far from perfection.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, it's very BioShock Infinite kind of in a way, where it's everything's in the clouds, and yeah, it's pretty cool. I guess
that's kind of the aesthetic I have in my head.
Good. Yeah, that's pretty much what I imagine every time I'm watching it. Meanwhile, if I guess I'll just say this now, if you guys aren't watching the YouTube video of it, seeing everyone's reactions to all of the crazy shit that happens is almost as good as watching the show itself. Specifically Josh's facial reactions to pretty much any event that happens. It's just it's pure gold. It's good stuff.
I've never been accused of having a stoic face.
Yeah, except for Sirkin probably has.
Yes,
Um,
for sure.
So for all of you guys, I know you talked about it a little bit the last time we had this this little, I forget what this is called, SKYDIVE. That sounds fun.
Yeah.
How did you guys come about creating your characters? Whoever wants to take it, because they're all so different, and they all kind of lend to a weird group dynamic that you wouldn't. It's like everyone's out for themselves, but at the same time, everyone is like able to assist each other in getting what they want while also using them at the same time, or in Sirkin's case, to get whatever they want. I guess what were you thinking about when you created the characters?
I'm gonna need to go last on this one because a lot happened for my characters very quickly in a pilot.
I can go first, or Josh sounded
Go
like
ahead,
you were
man.
excited as well. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Because for me, it like BioShock Infinite was like a huge thing I was thinking about. I wanted. First of all, I never played a game that wasn't D&D, like when it was like TTRPG style game. I've never played anything other than D&D, so I was like, okay, like swords and magic are like kind of like not like entirely off the table. Bozer was super open to like anything you think is cool, we can like integrate. But right off the bat, I was thinking, okay, so it's not fantasy. What is like a simple kind of machine that I can have that's not a gun, that's gonna be like I can like base an entire character around. And like so thinking about like old video games, like Bionic Commando was like the main one, right? Where you got this like weird like grappling hook kind of like arm, and the idea of giving myself some challenges for the character, and how I could do that, and that was just like perfect for me. Was like, okay, I have a grappling hook, but it replaces my arm. You know, like I thought that would be like a good way to just internally balance myself. Because I love the idea, like Cloud City, being able to like have air mobility was like something I was really interested in.
It's fair.
And then after that, it was kind of all like retconning in like how to make that kind of make sense. Okay, he's missing an arm. How did he miss his arm? You know, and so like he's had life experience, so he gets this like it kind of like the more I was thinking about it, the older he got, until he became this like grizzled veteran with a chip on his shoulder, you know. And then it was like figuring out where the chip came from and everything like that. It all just kind of it all stemmed from just like wanting to keep it like fun and video gamey, but also like again like just like by the way that we kind of got the opening like synopsis, felt like I should have some kind of grittiness. Felt like we were going to try to keep it, you know what I mean, like around the law. So it kind of I don't know, it's just kind of trying to keep it dark but also light at the same time.
Is like the mobility aspect of your character something that Fate Core prescribed and you gave it flavor, or is that something that you just wanted to add on your own?
Fate Core is insane. Like Fate Core is basically like if you're a power player in D&D, Fate Core is your game, because basically all you have to do is say, well, I spend a fate point, and it happens.
No, it's fair.
You know, it's like so like for me, I love to optimize,
To a
but I
point.
also no, but it is like like when you're making your character, it's just basically like write your character and the things, and if your DM or GM approves of it, then it's just real.
Yeah, pretty much.
You know, like anything you can think of is real. And so I wanted to have a superpower, I wanted to have an ability, but I didn't want it to be too fantasy, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Cool. I forgot to ask this right before we started. Do you guys want me to call you by your names, or do you want me to call you by your characters? Is there a preference here?
No preference.
I could call everyone by their character except for maybe Sirkin over there, because it's terrifying. I have a note or a question here that's for Josh, and it's not a question, just Sirkin is creepy as fuck, and that's it. Just wanted to let you know.
Yep.
How did
I
you come up
I
with?
made that enemy episode 1.
Yeah.
And you could tell on my face, I was like, oh no, this is not okay.
Someday that's gonna come home to roost, and we'll just have to wait and see what happens.
I'm just hoping enough things happen to where you just never realize it.
Right, exactly.
But it seems like
Yeah.
It seems like Sirkin kind of is very much like he's very truthful. Like he doesn't like fake things to people. So if he likes you or thinks you're remarkable or whatever, I feel like that's a very trustworthy. Like you can trust that he's like, you're cool. I'm not gonna rip your hand off.
Word to use.
He seems incredibly trustworthy when he tells you something.
About that statement again, please. Thank you.
All right, you're gonna have to give me some.
As someone who's listened to
background.
the show, you know better.
Hey, if he says he's gonna absolve you of your sins, he probably told him he's gonna take his hand off. I would trust him in that.
I mean, yeah. Well, and that's the thing. What makes something that I find amazing about this show in general is that I created this character because I usually play something as more of a I usually play a more leader type character or a more comedic character, and I wanted to go all the way in the opposite direction. And I also
the funniest character on the show.
I also love I love an anti-hero redemption story. I love the villain turned good guy. And so the idea of picking up a character that has had a series of causing misery for a twisted purpose that he felt justified about, how does that change when he no longer, when the faith breaks? How does that change him? And then with us before our session 0 sharing our backstories a little bit, it wasn't initially, we didn't plan, Wayland and I, to twine our stories that way. It's just when we shared that he was going to have a hand removed, we were like, hey, let's build a connection. And it ended up it's informed so much of these characters in this story between these guys.
Yeah, it was actually like something really interesting because, what you just said, I wrote that I lost my arm being tortured by a rival gang. Before we knew any of the other gang names, that's how it happened. And he works for a rival gang as a torturer. That was that was two different thoughts.
Yeah.
That's cool. I will say the video, the animation for that scene, the flashback was awesome. Very unexpected.
Yeah, that was another collaboration.
Yeah,
I skipped ahead to that. That was at episode 3 or something. I hope it happens again because that was very unexpected and very cool when it popped up. Also, that was done by, I think you did the voice. I'm just looking at you now with the weird head tilts. And Austin did the animation, right?
Yeah, just drew it. The animation I think was like all done in post from Josh.
It was all stills that I just put some effects to give it some
very
light.
Cool. Yeah, it was great.
It turned out really, really well. That's because Austin's incredibly talented.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All of our merch is by Austin too, and there's going to be more dropping this week.
Boom!
Woo woo woo!
So many.
When's the Nan merch?
And I'm here.
The Nan merch? Oh shit! I should take that slutty Nan sketch that I did, and we can make that into a T-shirt. Or
I need that on a hoodie. Yeah.
We need to figure out what's the Aurora version of Playboy.
Nice.
Because it's got to be classy.
Sky Bunny.
Sky
Bunny.
Oh, there it is. Nan on the cover of Sky Bunny.
If that doesn't work itself into an episode,
here we go.
I'm leaving.
All right. Britt, Kit, you can go next. How did you come up with this character?
Okay, so when we auditioned for the show, we kind of had to give a kind of like a loosey-goosey of what we wanted to play or what we would think kind of would work in this world. And I've always wanted to play a D&D equivalent of an artificer, which if you don't know what an artificer is, they're kind of like the fix-it type of person. So when I was getting down to like actually designing my character, I was like, oh, mechanic, and I think as I heard everyone else's character, it made me fight more to keep her not a criminal. Everyone else is a criminal.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, I don't want to go to the...
Okay, Theo, you are...
He wasn't a criminal yet.
Theo does not have a criminal record.
Criminal.
Doesn't mean you're not a criminal.
That's exactly what that means.
So are you saying saying there's no such thing as criminals unless they've been caught?
Correct. Innocent until proven guilty.
That's the most
That's
stupid
how
thing I've ever heard
the
in my
court
life.
of law works.
We are live now, though, right? That is forever etched.
But honestly, I was like, I'm just gonna play what I wanted to play because I didn't want to. I felt like because she was the odd person out, it would make a good storyline. And honestly,
Yeah.
she's a lot different than I thought, and I don't hate it.
Fair enough. Let's see. Lucas Alsvid seems like the most. You guys are all gonna probably disagree with me on this, but the most grounded and like normal character out of the group that is just like doing his thing, trying to be a normal human being.
I don't know how I'm supposed to argue that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a homeless man with one arm fighting crime.
Okay, that's fair. I just figured that, you know, every time I've said, "Oh, this person's like calling Al the Robin Hood," that was instantly like T was like, "Fuck no." How did you come up with Al
So
and the name too?
So I like to look at like the meanings of names and stuff like that. So I actually went through and was looking at names that kind of like meant something towards the job I was trying to do. And so like, don't ask me what it means right off the top because I really don't remember. But but I looked at the party comp that we had and I was like, okay, what can I be good at in this city? Because I knew I didn't want to be like an X user because we had the chance to do it. My first rough draft I was, but then I was like, I'm not gonna do that. Let's see what fits in. The party doesn't have like a rogue type character yet, so I was like, all right. And I don't typically play rogues in D&D because I play D&D a lot. Well, so I was like, all right, well, who's like a big kind of roguish Robin Hood-esque character? Oh, Han Solo. All right, bet. So I took all those kind of things, put them together, and like tried to build my character around like that idea. And in coming episodes, it's really funny to watch me be like, hey, I'm supposed to be really good at this whole like burglary thing, and then my rolls are shit.
He was never meant to be a rogue.
They've seen it already.
It's happened multiple times.
There was a moment for Wayland in like episode 3 where you just kept rolling like shit, and you were like, "What do I need to like lick to get better rolls?" And then like 6 episodes later, you're rolling like 12s.
Yeah.
So I think you figured that out somehow.
Well, season 2, we're right back in the dirt.
Oh, no.
Oh
You gotta
yeah.
lick it again.
Ugh.
Whatever
That's
I
it.
licked, I gotta find it because
It's not a one and done kind of thing. You got to upkeep
Yeah.
and maintenance that shit.
yeah, that's on me. That's on me.
Theo, how'd you come up with? Well, I think some fate point usage might have changed some things in your path forward.
So
with
it
Theo,
actually happened before that. So I specifically remember walking through Target with Sky as she was clothes shopping, and Bo's was like, "Hey, what do you want like the intro to your character be?" So I write out this full thing because Theo originally always was going to be a fixer. And I figured he was going to be a more political fixer in the sense of like he was going to play in the upper echelon, deal with the high and mighty. And what better way to be embedded in them is to sleep with somebody way on up. Well, Bozer completely misconstrued that idea. So when he's giving me this intro with Faust, I'm sitting there on the fly like, oh, I'm not sleeping with this individual like I thought I was. I am now working for this individual.
no.
So I am
way.
on the fly completely rewriting this character's backstory because Bozer and I just had a clear miscommunication over text on what this introduction was supposed to be.
I never knew this.
You were
Oh,
supposed to
man.
be a honeypot?
I was supposed to be a honeypot. Like that. And so then I was like, no, that's
Oh.
fine. I can still be a political fixer. This is okay.
Oh.
And then, as you had just mentioned, there's a fate point that gets involved later on that again completely takes this character and takes it on a 180 because Josh, much like Austin, will just say the things that come to his mind without much thought. And so we meet Juliana, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's Theo's goddaughter." And I was like, "Well, that again just changes Liana." That just again changes this character's entire
What is
dynamic.
her name? Can I ask what her real name is? Because it's Juliana,
Liana.
Leona.
I think everybody
Y'all
has a different
mispronounced
pronunciation.
All I remember is clotheslining her.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Wow.
yeah, then obviously when
There
it
it
came
Liana.
to meeting
came
this
into-
terrorist, I was like, oh, this will be a very interesting way for Theo to get introduced into the underground world because now he's going to be embedded with like these terrorist types. And Josh is like, it's his goddaughter. I'm like, oh, so all right, so Theo is clearly
now I
already
can't
going to
fuck
have
her either.
So Theo now has to figure out things on the fly. And I was like, all right. So I wanted the political fixer because at the time I had just finished Mayors of Kingstown, which is an incredible show if nobody has watched it yet. But then also at the same time, I started watching Lincoln Lawyer, the new TV show. And I was like, okay, this could be a lot more fun because I knew Theo was going to be a lawyer. I wanted the out of game court type scenario. And I was like, all right, so if I tell Mayor of Kingstown, Lincoln Lawyer, and just really be that man of the people and then interact with both worlds. And then once we had the terrorist connection and all these gangs, and I was like, okay, now we have a little more idea and we see a lot more of Theo's inner demons in the later part of the season. And then now we're starting to maybe expand upon that a little bit more in season 2.
Yeah, Theo's kind of a psycho.
If
Well,
I can
hold on now.
Compliment you real quick, T. I think something that interesting that you have underplayed pretty well is that after getting into the shit, how much you jumping in is about protecting the reputation you've built for yourself,
Yes.
among other things.
Yes.
But you've always found a way to put a noble face on something right in front of your legacy and your image that Theo's built.
And so we haven't got, and I'm hoping this is something that gets to be explored. I don't know realistically if it will. Theo very much so has a self-destructive tendency that derives from his paternal figures. So I do intentionally kind of play into that a little bit because I want to, when Theo's backstory gets explored a little bit more, there's a lot of backstory stuff that's going to make a lot more sense on why Theo reacts and does the things he does, because he full-heartedly self-sabotages as much as humanly possible.
What are you talking about? He just, told a reporter to, or no, he had Don Cucci send flowers in his name to Mr. Gold and said, "Well, read the news."
Again, logically, that wouldn't be a smart play.
No, not at all.
No.
You guys are trying to kill yourselves. This game
All
is
the
ridiculous.
time
Constantly.
he says like something he does, and I'm just like, you're sure? Like, that's what you want to
Honestly,
do?
my favorite part is catching everybody's reactions. Because
funny.
the first one that really got me, because getting Josh to break is my goal whenever we play. Because everybody else gets him, and I've only gotten him twice. Once early in season 2, and then the palm strike into Dipshit's chest.
Feels rad.
Because everybody that reacts, it's what I live for. It's everything every action I get is so I can get that. What? Because that's my favorite reaction.
I actually have a question. If I don't know if you're being coy or you are actually confused, but sometimes you will do a play like that and we'll be like, "Are you crazy?" And you'll go, "What?" That's and I'm always curious if you're like, if you pee, like, what's wrong with that? What do you mean? Or if this is just you like as doing some kind of joke that I just don't get.
Do you want my honest answer?
Yeah.
I don't understand the consequences of actions a lot of times, and this is like me
No.
as a real life person. It gets me in a lot of trouble. I very much so have a ask for forgiveness, not permission mentality.
Okay.
I didn't expect to be alive this long, so any consequences happening in my life, and I'm like, well, you just got to enjoy the moment while it happens. So I just say things because I want to see what unravels.
Yeah, political
cool.
fixer, mob boss, more the mentality you got
Yeah,
going on.
like absolutely.
It's a little off topic, but T joined in as a guest for a couple episodes of a campaign that I was in with Britt. And in like 2 episodes, he single-handedly started the end of the world by flooding it, and just like swam around as a whale.
In
And
my
that was it.
defense, I was given the item thrice
Yeah,
to
that's
start the
true.
apocalypse.
Doesn't mean you have to start it.
You can't change
I
the way it
made it
time.
very
That's the
clear
rule
what
of
I was
threes.
doing the moment I stepped foot in that group chat.
Yeah,
That's the
fair.
best way to guest star on someone's campaign is to come in, create end game, and then you're gone.
I had to make sure I was memorable. Everything
Yeah.
I do is so I can be remembered.
Oh
And
my
also, I wanna like Simba said in chat, he had conversations with the skull, like
God. That's
talking to
true.
himself type of conversations. Like, yeah, and I wasn't it named Tabitha too?
Yeah.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
Tabitha, you named her Tabitha.
I'm really bad at naming things, so this all was happening at the same time. So I ran with the same names because it was just at the forefront of my brain.
That's amazing. All right, so I'm gonna skip ahead to episodes 2 and 3 just for the sake of moving things
Sure.
along. I'll read through episode 2 real quick. So basically, what happens is Sirkin falls in love with Nan. That was pretty much immediate, like the first line of the episode. It turns out that Theo's goddaughter is the terrorist that was clotheslined by Kit. That was also the first fate point that was spent, right? Is that the first
It
one?
was.
Yep.
That's pretty good
Completely derailed everything.
fashion.
It set a tone.
It for
Yeah.
sure.
It's Theo knows everybody. So
God,
the
yes,
light
it
guard
does.
was waved down to help. They got everyone out of there. Kit broke Nan's foot as a distraction, which was the most ridiculous thing I could have ever expected. And then she hotwires Sirkin's car, and then Liana tries to eat a capsule, and that is the end of episode 2. Real quick, I'll skip ahead and read episode 3 because they're kind of somewhat
Doesn't
related.
Theo hit her to get the capsule out of her mouth?
Yeah, you did some. I don't remember exactly what it was, but you like kicked her in the stomach or something, and like
there and then tip the whole chair back and the force of the
That's
gravity.
right.
After telling me I couldn't hurt her, I was very upset. I was pouty.
and then in episode 3 we meet the first of Theo's exes. I think when he called and asked them to take a sample of it or figure out what
That's right,
the pill was.
Molly.
Molly.
It's
Molly.
Molly.
The X is Molly, not the drug.
Correct. Theo
So-
is sober-ish.
In episode 3, yeah, I guess you were all
Molly
drinking
sober.
whiskey this whole time.
Literally
Kit
the
promises-
entire campaign.
Kit goes home, promises to cook a pot roast for dinner, but then instead makes Nan a sandwich, like just a shitty sandwich. Goes to the Hammered Glass to meet the Gold family associate, which happens to be Sirkin. Also, Waylon and Sirkin meet for the first time since Sirkin removed his hand. That was a very touching moment where Sirkin told me he was remarkable, which means he's probably going to die in 7 days.
We're on day 3.
Theo-
So.
Yeah, no, this is
we've got
literally
time.
this has been like 12 hours into the campaign. It's amazing.
Correct.
Yeah.
Theo makes pasta, lets the Liana go, has Wayland go track her back to the university. Wayland falls on Chad.
Chad.
Rest in peace, his
Forward out for
virginity.
Chad.
And
I forgot about the virginity.
Landed on him and broke that poor kid's virginity.
yeah, it was a brutal moment. Could have used a fate point for that. I'm just saying, you didn't have to fall on Chad.
Shoulda, coulda,
Um,
woulda.
Kit allows Sirkin to enter the auto shop to figure out where her dad went. Sirkin runs into Haven, which is his associate, who's also a prick and just kind of a prick, and has to meet with the
My favorite
Golds.
NPC voice, by the way.
Yes, absolutely.
Ooh, why?
I don't remember Haven's NPC voice at all.
She's
got like a-
fish.
His-
It's got like
No.
No,
Yes.
Cockney.
yes,
Yeah.
Yes.
He's the
Yeah.
dirty Cockney accent.
yeah.
Gruff.
It's a little like this. Would you like a popsicle?
It's all like that.
I'm leaving.
It's basically Balor.
Got some popsicles in the basement.
And
And then
immediately when my brain went, I was like, that wasn't Haven.
the
Can't hear
episode ends
myself.
with Kit smashing the car that her and her dad had worked on together into pieces, which was a pretty intense scene. All right, there's a lot to unpack there. First, Kit broke Nan's foot. What was the thought process behind that? I mean, it worked as a distraction, but you also broke her foot. Why not her like arm or something?
I
Jesus.
panicked.
Break her arm?
Why was the alternative break something else?
It's something that, well, it's something that you gotta walk on, you know?
For.
I mean, if you gotta break something that you don't
Yeah,
walk on.
probably the small bones in your feet, not a whole arm.
Hey, at this point, hips are important for old ladies.
Nobody
It's
asked Farles to fucking save you in a moment. It's like, I had to break your neck, guys. It was the only option available.
I'm not up there. I don't know.
I panicked.
Yeah.
I was like, I stepped on her foot.
Yeah,
Was there
that
a
was
roll? Like, did you roll
Yeah.
exceptionally well?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
she rolled super high.
I think she rolled like
Oh.
a
Rolled
7.
negative.
Oh yes, I think Nan did roll negative, much like Chad.
Yeah, because in Fate, there's no AC. It's just you roll your attack, the other person rolls their defense. You add your, basically your modifiers depending on which skill you're using, and then it.
That's
However,
why Waylon
different.
keeps killing people.
And that's why.
I think we should
T-
star.
How much did that fate point for the the goddaughter fuck you up in that moment? Just on a scale of like 1 to 10.
I'm going to be honest. In the moment, I absolutely hated it. And not in the sense that, like, God damn it, like, this completely ruins everything, but because I just come off of that strong pivot with Bozer. When Josh said it was, I'm going to roll with the punches, especially with fate points being spent. And it was, like, the third time I had talked to Josh ever. So we're still very much so, like, feeling each other out, like, our creative processes. And so at the moment, I was like, you know what, fuck that idea. But all right, this is what we got to do. So at the moment, I hated it. And then I think you can see it on my face, like, 6 minutes later. I'm like, you know what, I can work with this. There's potential here.
Yeah, you pivoted incredibly quickly. I mean, you all do every time you throw something crazy at Bozer specifically. He's
I'm the only one
I
that's
don't know.
bad at pivoting.
I don't know.
I was like, I don't know what to do now.
That actually did bring up a question that I had that I forgot to ask earlier. So, Britt, I know you are doing all the editing. Is there a lot of like rules, lawyering, and discussions that are cut out? Or because I've seen other podcasts where like we have to cut out like an hour of discussion at the table.
Okay, so you want to know what the most cutting comes from? Is the first half before we
That damn
even.
You let this woman answer a question.
Um,
And let her say it however she goddamn wants.
All right, you were cutting. Go ahead.
Oh, the cutting something. Most of the editing comes from the time Bozer presses record till he says, "Welcome back to 4 Geeks by Geeks." There is sometimes anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes of us just bullcrapping.
A lot of shit that would get all of us canceled.
I would love to say, and you do the editing, so you can correct me if I'm wrong. But I think that I am being a good scout, saying, "Hey guys, let's play the game now. Let's play the game now, guys."
The best part is Austin
I
of all
think-
people is the one that tries to get us going, which in his defense, it is 5 a.m. his time when we start recording. So I'm sure he wants to just get up and do something. Well,
That's
usually I'm the one that's really fucking things over because we'll hit play and actually start playing, and then I got to make one more off the cuff comment, and then I make a second, and then a third.
It's
and then
between
right
you-
before we go live,
Yeah.
Discussions of Pusillanimous and
Yeah.
Pusillanimous was not me. That was
that
Austin.
was me. That was
that
me.
was
I think-
Austin, and that's why
yeah,
I'm
that was
pointing
me.
it out because
Uh-huh.
Austin was like, "Come on, guys, let's get
I
going."
think-
Let's wrap it
I
up.
think the issue too is like as much as I want the game to start, I also don't let like moments like hang. Right, so if T is going to like cut in again, I'm not going to be like, okay, I'm not going to say anything, so we can start. I'm going to be like, hey man, you just said another thing. Isn't that weird?
I'm not
Austin's
convinced
a
Austin
completionist.
actually likes me.
Which also doesn't help. I know that I'm not helping the situation, and I'm adding time, but
But these are moments for me. I'm never mad about it because like we're talking about it now. Like those are the moments that we as a group remember, and some of the best moments outside the campaign. Like we don't get to see each other throughout the day. Like that recording
fair.
session is the only time throughout the week that we really get to spend any quality time together, and then most of it's in character. So
and
getting
it's
on a
never
little early.
limited the amount of episodes we record. Not
yeah, hey,
once.
we're gonna shoot
Not
for two
one
today. We're gonna shoot for two today. Starts at like 9:30. Okay, maybe not.
That's just what.
And honestly, like for the month of August, we were ships in the night.
Yeah.
Like, Josh was filming a movie. Lucas. Fart. My brain is farts right now.
We know each other, I swear.
Well, I'm
In
I
her
went-
defense, he's been in 4 episodes.
Yeah.
At least
Lucas-
6.
Lucas
just
is a
meeting,
bitch to the
too,
army,
right?
and like the rest of us just had life going on, so we hadn't seen each other pretty much the entire month of August. So we sat down on this Saturday to record, and we're like, we're doing two, and by the time we finished, it was like
Yeah. it was like an hour of
hour
preamble.
past when we normally do. Yeah,
We had to get it out of our system.
Yeah, sometimes you just
Yeah.
gotta
So
shoot the
much,
shit.
so much things happened in between, and we had to like
Yeah.
keep each other
That's
up to
fair.
date.
yeah. So
All right. Let's see. I have a question here that says, how many X's does Theo have? I don't think we want to know the answer to that. The animation
Nobody rolls.
of Sirkin's interrogation was amazing and awesome. You guys need to do that again. I already said that. Anything else on episodes 2 and 3? There was a really good, everyone shooting whiskey, Theo getting mad at people for shooting whiskey instead of sipping it. A lot of small parts
Yeah.
in these episodes that were really good.
5-footers.
Yeah, I think the thing with Wayland especially was like I didn't have like I had like or still do like a really like singular purpose, right? But like I've like stepped into this like cluster cuss that it's like I can't really take my step forward yet. You know what I mean? So it's
Mhm.
like I feel like especially in the first handful of episodes, like very supporting character, just like kind of like using these moments in everybody else's drama as like kind of training wheels of like re-entering like social relationships, you
That's
know?
fair.
Like that was kind
Yeah.
of like that's kind of how I used it because like if Kit's thing is going on and Theo's thing is going on and Sirkin's thing is going on, it's like okay, but I also have stuff that I need to do. So you know what I mean? Like I felt like it was
Yeah.
like very appropriate for me to be like, you know what, there's no rush, and you know what, like I'm gonna get intel and be able to work on my thing while I'm cleaning up everyone else's messes.
Right. Yeah, and I mean,
Theo's
weren't you
Come on.
sleeping on the roof or something and Tabitha was mad at you and then you came down and ate food or something? Like there was a
Yeah.
lot of small moments that just added a lot to your character that just you didn't need to, you know, and you all do a pretty good job of or very good job of not like stepping in each other's limelight and like letting you have those moments that are very important just all throughout the whole season. It's like you guys have been working or like doing this together for years. I don't know.
I gotta
It's
give
pretty good.
Bozer his props on, because, like he said, not only is this his first campaign, this is his. Immediately, he was like, "No, we're not gonna do anything pre-written. We're gonna make a homebrew." And I'm like, "All right, you fucking madman, you do just that." But he's done an incredible job balancing. Obviously, I can't speak for everybody else, but I don't feel like he has limelighted anybody particularly too long. I think he does an incredible job balancing the time between these characters, giving them time to flesh out their mini sections of their arc that are being uncovered. And with a table this size, that's not an easy thing to do in the slightest. Right. And as well as we mesh together, we all have very big personalities in their own right. So the fact that we can... Obviously, we stumble over each other because we all want to get that line in, but we all do a great job of like, oh, okay, he's going good. We're going to let that line go off. But just the way everybody is able to so casually work together, being our first project together, blows my mind, especially because these dumbasses are at the helm of it all. Doesn't make any sense.
Oh, it's easy for me to take the background because, I'm pretty sure I also was only in the first episode and I was not in the second or third. So I'll let the professionals do their thing, and I'll just kind of come in and out when I can.
It also really helps that we all are fans of each other's character. It feels like so it's very easy to pass that ball or opportunities to set each other up for something. They feel very natural, and that's really nice. You don't always get that at a table.
When I edit, I don't edit a lot of what happens at the table. A lot of the things that I edit is someone's cam broke or a dog barking or just life going on in the background. I don't
me flirting with my wife openly.
No, that stayed.
With tongue.
That one stayed.
Tongue.
But a lot of it isn't like gameplay. It's just stuff. So what you see is what's actually going on.
And I know that we had talked about that previously about what kind of show we wanted this to be. But one thing that we have, I guess, is our brand on FGBG is just authenticity and
laziness.
And also it's easier to not have to cut all that out. but those are the most delicious moments, at least to me. And when I listen back to a D&D podcast or something, it's those little moments that I cherish that don't move the story forward, but it highlights character and shows the relationship the players have with each other that just makes me want to hang out with those people. I don't care what they do. I want to be with them. And so I didn't want us to cut anything out that really showed who these amazing players are, regardless of their characters.
And we tried doing that with Kingdom Come in a single episode, editing out O's and ums and buts and pauses. It was like a 12-hour project for every episode. And it's just re-listening to the same shit over and over and make sure you get those cuts and those lines right. And I'm like, no, it's not who we are.
The only thing I'll say on it really quick is just I think that everyone Bozer obviously the most because he's the DM, but it's really just a space thing. I don't think anybody fights most of the time. Everyone is just speaking until they are done speaking, and then it naturally picks up. For me too, I play a pretty quiet character for the most part, and I feel like I don't have to speak. I don't feel pressure to speak, and then when I do speak, I don't feel like I'm speaking over anyone. It's just people aren't pushing their story onto anyone. It's just you fill it where it makes sense to.
Right. Yeah, and it's happening. It seems like it's happening really organically, and it's also kind of. I feel like the way that you guys do it has led me to have my 5 favorite characters of all time. We've got Nan, Jerry the sandwich guy, the elevator kid, Dave the fighter, and Don Cucci all in one room,
And all played by the man up there.
Jesus.
I'm excited.
It was hard to get him on the show, but yeah, he's really
he really committed the time.
I'm excited for when the dates finally happen between Bozer and T in multiple different dates. It seems like at this point that have been set up. It's gonna be a wild ride.
Can't wait.
Could that happen in season 2? I don't know. Find out. Starts this Thursday.
Probably not. We're not going to get through enough episodes to get there.
Who knows? We're on day 3 at this point, so
Yeah.
Thursday is a while away.
Yeah, and it's just like it's like a moment out of your like all of your lives. So it seems like all the shit is hitting the fan all at once, which is kind of wild. And the music changed right at this moment, which made it even better. Okay, we'll do episodes 4 and 5. Episode 4, Sirkin meets with Kieran Gold. Kieran Gold's terrifying. He goes through was it Jimmy's sandwich shop to get there.
Jerry, you forgot his name
Jerry's-
already.
I literally just forgot. It's so I have to scroll up to get back to that name that I said.
It's so fitting for
Can-
Jerry.
Yeah. Do you want to
That's
know?
a good point.
Do you want to know?
Samantha and
what,
Ellen would be very disappointed.
Do you want to know a funny is why it's called Jerry's?
Hmm.
Is because T thought Josh's name was Jerry the first time we all sat at the table.
Poser.
Yes.
That's amazing.
In my defense,
Instead, Jerry, like I let it go on for a while.
I thought I did that. I was calling you Jerry.
One of you did.
It was
One
Bozer.
of you
It was
did.
Bozer.
It was, me.
Bozer.
You're like-
It
yeah.
was Bozer.
Thanks, Jerry. And I was like, isn't his name Josh?
That's amazing.
It was
It
Bozer.
was during session 0, and it wasn't until like the end of
correct.
session
It
0.
was Bozer, but I also had the same issue, and because I knew there was a J, but then I remembered Dairy Public Radio, so my brain just went Jerry. Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, that's why it's Jerry Public Radio system. But
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so Sirkin meets Kieran Gold, led there by Haven, who doesn't remember Jerry's name, much like me. And Kit leaves the door unlocked. Wayland beats the shit out of a Sigurd's Reach dude. He might have murdered him, by the way.
we don't know.
Did, for sure.
We don't
I think
know that.
you rolled real high, and I think you like
He
punched
rolled
through his
real
chest or
low.
something.
I just knocked him out. I just knocked
Mhm.
him
As far
out.
as you know.
He just the long sleep. Sirkin that night searches the body shop, I think with Wayland, and they find the Fight Night flyer and also a sign of the Eye of Axiom. Theo's ex, Molly, lets him know that the organic herb is something that could possibly stop someone's heart, and they have to go to the greenhouse district or something of the sort to find out more. Oh, there's a bunch of
Still
cats
has
by
not been.
me. That's fair. Then episode 5, Al comes back, checks in on his old guild.
Episode 5.
Yep.
I knew it.
And they find out about this job for the Gold family to hit a Royal X storehouse of some sort. And then Wayland kicks Sirkin's ass in a practice fight, which was
That
which
fight
was also
so much fun.
at the same time that once he's all like rocked, it's the same time that the courier delivers the mask. So Al walks in and Sirkin's just loopy, and they all join forces. Those were 2 pretty good episodes, by the way. The episode with Al in with his old guild in that like rundown hotel, and the elevator guy doesn't have a room and can't wash his uniform. I don't know if that is like indicative of how the guild's always been run, but it doesn't seem like they're in a good spot. I don't know, Wayland, was it better when you were in it?
So the idea was that like I don't know if this is said on the actual thing, but I like co-founded it. So like yeah, so like
no, that was said early on, I think.
yeah. So like it was me and my like best friend, and we kind of decided, all these thugs on the street, like instead of having them like just do unorganized crime and like getting themselves in trouble or whatever, like teaching them respect and teaching them how to do things properly and safely and whatever. But like we were still doing jobs
Crime.
for criminals, but we were also
Mhm.
doing jobs for government officials and stuff, like bodyguard kind of stuff. And
Yeah, you
so it was
unionized
like
them.
yeah, it was like towing the line of both, and like having the ability to, because like the town's not going to clean itself up, but at least we're going to be like kind of like a figurehead of what it should look like. And when the shit kind of hit the fan, they kind of uprooted our ways of doing it. So like
Mhm.
the like hazing and stuff may have been there. I'm not going to say that it wasn't entirely there, but there's like the idea of teaching people like respect and how to carry themselves in society is probably not as prevalent.
Yeah, that's fair. And Sirkin, you collected glass or something weird again at Kit's place. Did we ever find out what's going on with that glass?
You know what? I can tell you because it's not gonna come up now.
Okay, that's good.
Intention behind carrying all this glass was because in the scene when I was talking to Kieran, I asked Kieran to get me the number of how many people were hurt by the explosion by glass by the terrorist.
Yeah.
Because all of this time, Theo had told me about if we had to get interrogation. If I had to interrogate Liana, I couldn't hurt her. So I was thinking of creative ways that I could get around that. And so what I was doing was I was collecting glass because then I was going to put something she needed in a bag of glass, and there were going to be exactly as many shards as were people who were hit by the explosion.
What the fuck?
That is so
Yeah.
What in the
Yeah.
serial killer shit is
Yeah.
that?
I don't
And
know
then-
if any of you are by shot of all the shit
Yeah.
that's come out of Josh's mouth. This is
Don't-
where you're like, what the fuck?
This
Where
time-
is he coming from?
I think it was
Yeah, this
episode 1
this-
where I said that I hate Sirkin and everything he stands for. I think Austin
I think
said
so.
that in episode
I think
1.
yeah. And you've
If
never
Sirkin's
recanted.
If Sirkin's the BBEG, you have to tell Austin.
Yeah,
That's true.
You have to let me know.
You've said that a couple times.
I
Yeah,
was
you have to let
really
me know.
the bag of glass ended up being also an accidental help when I when I had to slit my own hand and write the
Oh yeah,
number of Haven's apartment in blood.
which was also
Happy
terrifying.
accident.
Oh,
Totally
we're gonna get to
normal
that.
thing to do as a human.
That's some like Jigsaw kind of like, oh man, wait, you're just Jigsaw.
That
Forever.
is. Literally, he's saying about the bag of glass, and I was like, I saw that in a Saw movie once.
Yeah, and then like,
The
oh,
only-
cleansing yourself
The similarity
through the.
there is that it's only because I wasn't allowed to harm her. That's
Ah.
why it's.
Got it. Okay.
That's why she
So
has.
if you
she'll
don't
harm
like
herself.
this, it's not my fault. It's Theo's.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone else, I'm doing all of it.
that sounds about right, actually. Okay. Episode 6 is when you guys do
Party for the first time.
yes. Yeah, so Al goes he explains
Oh,
that
I
they're
was just
attacking the
thinking
storehouse. No, that's true. Al stops by the fight ring, sneaks in and out like a pro. Sirkin goes back, meets with Kit at the auto shop, and then in episode 7, Kit finds out the fight's tomorrow and just takes a cab home. And then you guys watch as it probably in horror, like everyone else was, that watching the Sigurd's Reach just destroy the light guard with the help of that crazy flying lady, which
I
we'll just call
forgot
her
about
11.
that bitch.
That
Yep, I
Yeah.
noped out of that so fast. I was like, nope.
Yeah,
If that,
and then
if that answers your question, we haven't gone back to that in season 2.
we're too
No,
afraid.
that was nuts. I'm pretty sure she killed them all, and then
Which was a really
Wayland-
validating moment for me because up to then, like I was still finding the balance of combat in Fate Core, and I'm like, oh man, am I doing this too easy? But for the most part, people were blow for blow, and I was like, okay, so things are pretty balanced. But I didn't want to put the I
You want
guess
to put the fear of God in us because that's what you did.
more than was in you previously. Like I wanted to show you the raw power of Zodicium if it's used in certain ways.
Wait,
I didn't want you
pause.
to get too
Did you say
comfortable.
you rolled for that encounter?
No, in
Like
previous encounters.
Oh, I thought you were saying like you rolled for that fight amongst yourself for the outcome, and I was like, "Bud,
Sorry.
you're
Sorry,
the
I
GM.
texted
You
him-
just determine how it goes."
A
But I
text
still-
popped on the screen and said, "You are not the right level for this area." And I,
You ran into an invisible wall. No, but I do make a lot of rolls because I don't want to make the decision, even as the GM. Like, if it's NPCs versus NPCs, like at this point, the story's taken a life of its own, and I love the fact that the dice have made such heavy decisions.
What happens,
for the
Bozer? I
story.
don't know. Let's find out.
It's
I mean,
fake
well,
baby.
Yeah,
We'll
that's a
get to
totally
it.
valid way to do it. Yeah.
But there's so many times that this happened that because of a roll, whether really great or really poor, it changed the trajectory of the entire campaign, and in like a most magical way possible, which I just fucking love.
Yeah, and I feel like it's kind of ridiculous that you're a first time DM, because the first time I DM'd, either I made everyone roll for every step they took, or the opposite, where it's like, oh, you want to kick that door open? Sure, you got it. But you found instantly that like, here's what should be rolled for and can be very impactful versus here's what you just do, right? And so that's not an easy thing to do, I don't think, because I can't do it.
Well, I surround
and that
myself
means
with
it's not
people that
easy.
are very good at it,
Austin.
like everybody at this table, and I've been listening and paying attention and just like osmosis learning. But thank you.
That's fair.
Can I tell you the secret?
What's the secret?
The secret, not you. Wait, actually, Bozo,
Oh.
take
I
your,
would-
take your headphones off. I can't. No, because you're the GM. You're not supposed to hear this.
Wait, I'll cover my ears.
All right, earmuffs. Thank you. The trick is you have to really captivate Bozer in the scene so he forgets to ask you to roll for something.
Oh, that's
if you
hilarious.
draw him into the story, he will get so sucked into it that he will not even think about asking you to roll.
Why do you think he gets to do
Amazing.
whatever the fuck he wants?
All right,
you
you
think
can
we're
take
so
your
well
earmuffs,
there?
take your earmuffs off, Bozer. You can come
Okay,
back
thank
now.
you. No, that's so true. I would go back and I listen to episodes. And I was like, shit, I should have asked for something, but I was so terrified of Sirkin or so intimidated by T and his lawyer talk that I'm like, yeah, that happened. Whatever.
I mean, so also in this episode, Waylon takes the power band, which why not? And
Helps with the
Nan
12.
is kidnapped. Yes, it helps a lot in episode 12, and then also gets you killed in episode 13.
Damn,
But
I
then
haven't
it-
listened that far.
Well, you're on the wrong live stream right now if you haven't
Shit.
listened that far.
Oh shit, we didn't
Then-
say spoilers at the start.
Oh yeah. By the way, there might be spoilers because we're going through the whole first season, and if you haven't listened to it, it's still worth a listen because you're missing a lot of very small and
Just go
very
watch
hilarious
Josh's face
and
the
very
whole
good
time.
moments. Yeah. You can just put it
I'm
on
proud of
mute and
my
just
face.
zoom in on him. We are also proud of your face, so thank you for that. Yeah, and this one ends with Nan being kidnapped, which next
Pissed all
episode
of us
ends.
off.
Yeah,
That was,
everyone got very
quite a
mad.
Shock.
Can I ask
So-
as the GM, because I really never got all of your takes on that. What was going through your mind? How did you feel about it as players?
Mm,
As
Good
a
question.
player, I felt so guilty. As Sirkin, I anger, but so I was like, "Oh no, it's my fault that Nan is like I've been putting all this pressure on here, thinking my whole plan was basically been using Kit as a scapegoat, and then now it's on me. I'm like, shit."
It was the first time as a player, or like a first time I've ever been on the opposite end of pissing off players, because I'm usually like, "Ah, gotcha, bitches." It was the first time I was on the receiving end. I'm like, I don't like this.
What pissed you off about it?
Well, and then I crashed my fucking car on the way.
Yep.
Because
Yes, you did.
I picture Nana as my own Nana. So the whole time I'm like, this motherfucker just kidnapped my fucking Nana, you piece of shit.
I think
Also,
for me,
you guys had. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say for me, it was like it felt like, and it still doesn't feel like it's like necessarily like a complete give and take, but we pull a lot out of Bozer as far as like what we're allowed to do and what we have done, and I felt like this was Bozer's like opportunity to be like, well, your actions have consequences.
Oh yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
It felt like a kind of reality check out of him where he was kind of testing his power over us. You know what I mean? Where it's like we were kind of pulling from him, and he's like, okay, well,
Thanks, Lucas.
I'm gonna pull this from you now.
I mean, if you think about it, Kit would have been home because the fight was the next night, and you guys brought her out all dressed up, and then she just took a cab home, and her defenseless Nan was taken. so it's your fault.
To be
But
fair, if that
Or
poster
we
had a date
saved
on
her
it,
life. Those are the options.
well, yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. But I mean, Kit does have what, a +6 to all roles involving any sort of mechanics or
Wrenches,
automobiles or
God.
something.
Instant crit, instant legendary
Yeah.
roll.
So she would have been
Shit.
fine. She would have like pulled the door off a car or some shit.
Yeah, as long as it was in
Um,
the garage, you're fine.
Right. Episode 8 is when we have the most devastating fight loss that your whole crew ever gets into. It's when Waylon fights the phone, and the phone fucking rocks him.
Yeah, I got my ass handed to me.
There's
Actually, I should have
also-
taken a permanent consequence from that fight. Actually,
Mental consequence.
I only have mental too, so I probably should have had some kind of long term effect from that.
That scene
That was the most
also led
brutal.
to my question of the day of like, what's your favorite scene? I was watching Tabitha get pissed off and having to watch Waylon get like legit terrified because Waylon doesn't show fear. I don't think at all, except to Tabitha. That's where he's like, "Oh, I fucked up." And
Mhm.
so watching, because first off, I think Tabitha might be my favorite NPC because Bowser really channels that what's the nanny's name? Who was that actress?
Fran Drescher?
Fran
Drescher.
Drescher.
That's the vibe I get from Bowser's Tabitha. So like I'm sitting here watching
Amazing.
this scene in my head of just watching Austin being yelled at by her. And I was like, this is incredible. This is exactly what I needed.
I love that.
That was this episode in general was just a huge just shit show for all of you. Sirkin crashes his car. Waylon fights the phone. You investigate Haven's place by calling in a bomb threat. After Sirkin uses his blood to put the address on a wall where his car crashed, I believe. Theo and Kit join forces to con the bomb threat police people into letting you into the building.
Crazy.
The first
everyone
time
else just
I get
sneaks
to
in?
just say shit and then distract Bowser from rolling by just saying enough shit convincingly enough, he's like, yeah, okay.
I think the real key to that though was Kit joining in and being your assistant. I mean, I would have believed that she was kind of terrifying.
Yeah, that was like
that
the
whole
first
episode.
time. I want to let Brooke put her headphones back on for
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
But
Sorry,
that
I
was-
missed that.
That was like one of the first times where Kit has had this aspect. Kit, we're talking about the bomb threat and how you and Theo went in and owned shit in the lobby. But like you had that aspect, bark is bigger than her bite. And I think that was the first time that we really saw you lean into that. Because I always knew that was part of your character sheet, but we hadn't really seen Kit use it. And that was the first time she barked real loud and she hasn't stopped barking.
Yeah, and now I have a aspect. I switch because as you
I was gonna
level
say,
up,
doesn't
you
that
can
one get
change.
changed out?
Yeah, it's called Try Me
no.
Bitch now.
Yeah, that's
Ooh.
right. Which
That's
is such a
amazing.
great evolving of her character because she really does start as this very coy, like inside of herself, awkward individual, and then she very quickly is all right, bitch, fuck around and find out.
Mhm.
But again, this is day 2. She tackles a terrorist. She's like, "Yep, this is who I am now, bitch. I found what brought me out of my shell."
No,
Yeah.
it's Sirkin.
Yeah, I was
brought you
very
out of your shell. Yeah.
I still have fears
Same.
that Kit's going to end up being a little Sirkin.
That
The
would be
fight
amazing.
For Kit's soul is really the subline of the
Honestly,
entire show.
Theo's trying his hardest to get this bitch to retire early.
I'm actually curious. Any like on that "Try Me Bitch" thing? Any players feel like changing an aspect like was really impactful for yourself, or like something that was like really helpful for the game? Because personally, I like canonically terrible roller, awful luck. So I changed one of my aspects to no one said it was easy, so that when I completely fumble something that should be really easy for my character, I've got that in my back pocket as like, Bowser, please, this is so simple. Please, so anyone can do that. I will give you my fate. Just please allow me to tie my shoes or whatever.
Open a car door.
So I think that's my funniest thing is because I make a joke at the end of season 1 that I don't use an aspect all of season 1. And I was like, can I do a stunt? I don't use a single stunt in all of season 1. I was like, how long can I do this in season 2? And you'll find out what happens.
Oh god. This was also the episode. I think this is the episode where the rest of you go try to sneak into the back door, and someone like fails at the lock 5 times, and like Al just walks in. Or I don't remember exactly what happened, but it was a very like Waylon trying to shoot his hook up and missing or something, and Al just like walks in the door, and you're all just like, oh, okay, well, that's how that works.
Yeah.
Breaking into which part?
The moment that still, every time I think about it, it still makes me laugh to my core is the Wayland in my car being frustrated, the old man frustration. When he's like, you know that feeling when the car is filled with old man anger? I can't even think about it.
We all use the fate point to make him use right hand man.
Yeah, to break a bunch of phones.
Yeah, I got bullied.
Not only that, but didn't
You really did get bullied.
It wasn't just there. You guys used it in the car. So
We
we
did.
had to.
Yeah, we used
Yes.
to open the car door.
Yeah.
Oh man.
This is another thing that's so great about Fate is because with that right-hand man, Austin can use it in a lot of situations, and that in fighting, there's a lot of positives for that. But just those bits are such great examples of that being able, that same aspect can be used
Mhm.
against him so hard. It's
Yeah.
such a double-edged sword, and I love it.
Well, you all should be afraid because I have 5 points, so they're just in my back pocket all
I'd be
the
scared
time.
if you showed up.
It's not my fault, okay?
All right.
Just go AWOL. It's fine.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. Episode 9. After this crazy shit show, all of you guys, the players is what it says here, regrouped after breaking into Haven's apartment, implicating him as a terrorist, which ridiculous. I remember Kit was pissed at Sirkin because it said TikTok Sirkin, where they're trying to send you to the newest app or something of the sort. And then you guys got Wayland ready for fight night. Sirkin sent out some sealed envelopes that we didn't know what was happening with. And you guys headed to the fight night and ran into none other than Liana and the most hated character in the show,
God, I hate that little
Vox.
Oh, my God.
Which
I
I
like
feel
Vox.
like he's grown on me a lot after that
Nope.
first scene.
Wrong.
Vox is my
Incorrect.
dude.
You have
Can I
family bias.
I don't give a shit. I don't
Can I
think Theo has had a real scene with him. And so it's pure 100% what I'm going to be like with my daughters of anybody trying to date them is I don't give a shit if you're the greatest person on earth. You're not good enough.
It'll definitely be interesting if we ever make a point in the story where the dust settles for more than an hour at a time.
Happening.
The
Oh,
bit's
God,
gone
that's so
on
true.
too long.
Vox clearly knew Kit. Dave the Fighter versus Captain Hook was the first round. And I don't remember, did you kill Dave or did he just get seriously wounded like instantly?
Seriously wounded.
Yeah,
I think he lived. Okay, that's nice.
As
He's
far
my
as
favorite
you know,
character.
he was taken out of the ring.
No,
Good
we
back
know
hallway.
because we see him later.
Oh, that's
During
right.
the
That's right.
recovery,
Yeah.
Dave,
Yeah.
we bring up that Dave
Mhm.
is alive.
He's in
Yeah.
the recovery room.
Yeah.
Thank goodness. Dave is the
Technically,
new
we
BBEG.
saved Dave's life. That's all I want to point out.
Yeah, someone else might have killed him.
See, I rest my
Sirkin
case.
used the new X and was able to basically see space and time itself, and then was able to scare the living hell out of Vox with his, I think it was his eyes were just like pure black. And Theo recognized the fight boss as the chief archluminary of engineering, Ren Jepsen, I think
Yep.
is his name. I
Mhm.
spelled
Yep.
that horribly wrong in my notes. It's a whole thing.
Don't feel bad.
Um,
Bozer spells things the worst possible ways.
That episode was wild. Was that also the when did you also fight the Birdman at that episode? I can't remember if it was
Might have
that or
been
the
the
next
beginning
one.
of that fight. I think we two phased that. It was like
Yeah.
split between
Gotcha.
2 episodes.
Oh, okay, cool.
No,
Just
I
the
think you
whole
fought
like
Dave and Nightwing is what it was called, all in one episode.
Did I? Was that
Because
all
I
one
wanted
fight?
you-
because
I wanted you to
Because
have
you have
fights
3
total.
total fights.
I was there for that.
Yeah.
And then
Oh yeah, I just
the army owned me.
Oh wait, that's in episode 10. You were just getting ready to fight the Dave the Fighter in episode 9. So episode 10, Waylon destroys Dave. That's what I wrote. A rotating cage fight is next, and Waylon destroys the Birdman, Nightwing. Poor guy. Sirkin interrogates Vox, and Kit joins them in leaving the building. Don Cucci, the florist, was introduced for the first and probably only time. Alden Gold is announced as the final fighter, and Waylon. I think we end this whole episode with Waylon using X for the first time.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
It
was
was
a
nice
wild
not to be
scene.
alone.
Yeah. Yeah, that was actually like talking about session 0 stuff.
Mhm.
Like Bozer had talked like, any of you guys do X, tell me what you kind of do. We'll like shop like the power level. And I told him like, hey, if you want to roll in a table and have one of the options be me die, I'm down with that. Like if I ever do X and one of the options is just I die, like I think that's cool. Like, and that would just like poignate to like the rest of the people watching, like how dangerous this stuff can be if you're not compatible with it.
Yeah.
And so I had no idea what my power was going to be or how it was going to manifest on myself. And so it was like fun to like actually role play, not knowing how it works.
Yeah.
And I literally rolled a D100 for that. I didn't even know how.
What
it would
number
affect
was
him.
going to kill him? 1 or 100?
It would have been 1.
Okay.
69. No.
That is actually a question I wanted to ask: is how does everyone know what their powers are going to be, or when he took X, you rolled onto the table? Was it a table you made? How did you determine what was going on with X?
I looked up 100 superpowers,
Nice.
and I
That's perfect.
just rolled. And I'm like, okay, that's number 42, so that's what it is. Because I told them, as far as in this world of Aurora and in this campaign that we set up, most people, if you take raw X, it's probably going to kill you. Like, it needs to be distilled, it needs to be treated, facilitated in certain ways. It has widely versatile positive effects, but in its raw state is usually very dangerous, except for a small population where it unlocks some superhuman ability based on like your genetic makeup, essentially. And I told them straight up, I'm like, if y'all want superpowers, you can have them. Like, you'll be part of that small population. But half of them were like, no, I wanted to leave it to fate. If ever I take it, I want to see what happens. And only 2 of you.
I knew
Yep.
exactly what I wanted.
Yeah.
You didn't have to say it like that.
I
You
was
did that on
very clear.
Yes.
Yeah,
So-
that episode was a lot of fun to like get to like use my character in its like, not even in its intended purpose, like obviously like infiltrator was like the main thing, but just like being able to fight with my character for the first time and take no damage.
I can't believe
Hell
that.
yeah.
was pretty cool.
I'm not gonna lie, the rotating cage fight terrified me because the
Mhm.
whole time because that's when the party split. So I was thinking, I was like, how do I like assist in saving Wayland if it gets to that point? Because there's no feasible way that Theo can do anything to help at all, and he's just gonna have to watch Wayland die if his dice rolls go poorly.
Yeah, and I mean that's what I feel like, and I'll get to this question right now, but that's what I feel like this Fate Core seems like you guys are having a lot of fun with it, because the fights seemed very fluid, and you were able to just like, oh, because I rolled well, let's explain how all this happens. And it a lot of times when I do D&D, and it's probably a fault of me not being great at it, is I stand there and say, I attack, and that's kind of it. But it was very story driven, and it was, I don't know, it was really cool to see.
Yeah. As the person who does the most attacking, I will say that like I'm a DM, right? So I narrate how fights go. That's what I do in the games.
Yeah.
And so something that I really love and something I try to get all my players to do is like, okay, sure, you attack, but tell me how you attack and then I will tell you if it's successful, and then what the enemy will do in response to how you attack.
Yes.
Right.
Got it.
So going in with like especially this incredible like improv driven game, I was just like coming in with exactly how I think my character would attack, and that
Sorry.
is like, oh no,
Sorry,
Yeah.
I was just trying to block the.
No.
Censor.
My
Put a
bad.
censor over your porn cat over there.
But yeah, so like I came to Bowser with exactly how I wanted to attack, with that being like the basis of the telling the story, because it's not so detailed, it's really loose,
Yeah.
so it kind of gives you a lot of freedom, but then at the same time, like you said, if you're not comfortable with it, then it might feel even more clunky than D&D,
Mhm.
There's less
because
structure
I believe that.
almost.
you know what I mean? So it's like you kind of have to like completely like look at it more as like an improv game than D&D, because it's like it's all story.
Yeah.
It's very little mechanics.
But the way that you and Bowser fight with each other is just super interesting. I don't know. You guys did a really good job of narrating it out and making it make only pause. Boy.
But you say that, Austin.
That's okay.
And I guess I forgot what a gift that it is to work with all of you. The fact that at no point in this campaign, except maybe Lucas sometimes, where I'm like asking you to role play into what you're saying, like rather than just tell me what you do, like talk it through, show me what you do, and like you said, just tell me how it works, and I'll let you know if it's successful and what happens in consequence. So I'm just over here, I'm like, wow, I am so lucky that I get to do my first full campaign with this bench full of pros, and I'm spoiled rotten.
Which is why you forget to make us roll for
Pros?
shit.
Yes.
Pros?
Maybe
Pros.
Maybe them.
I feel
Maybe
like
them.
for me, I'm the kid in class that's like, wasn't there homework? Like, because like I will like almost command Bowser to make me roll sometimes, or I'll be like, hey, is this idea for me way too broken? Like, do you want to take this as an opportunity to stifle me here? Like,
You're letting my chain get pretty long here. You want to tug on it to make sure it's still attached, or
Do I need to pull chains more often?
no, I'm saying it's just like kind of a me thing. Like I
No,
feel like
my rolls pull my chain enough.
oh, you can try, but we'll just act harder to make you forget.
And that's the thing, like we saw it recently in a recording, because I, as the GM, have the opportunity to compel their aspects. So I can basically add a complication. I give them a fate point, and then it creates some hardship in that moment. And at the start of the campaign, I want to make sure I did that so that anybody listening could understand how fate works. But as the game kept going and the roles kind of compelled themselves, and then you guys started compelling yourselves and compelling each other, it's been kind of nice. Like, oh, good, I don't have to add complications, because complications are happening by your own damn actions. I don't need to force hardship on you, because they just find you based on what you're doing anyway. And that makes sure you don't run out of fate points. But no one's ever run out by the end of the episode.
Well, I think that's the intent of Fate, though, is everybody understands that a TTRPG is intended for a sit-down collaborative storytelling experience. But Fate really prides itself on, like, Josh jumping in and adding in the goddaughter sequence. Like, Fate is designed for those narrative moments to take place. Because everybody knows at a table, everybody's always throwing out ideas and jokes and ha-ha funnies to see what becomes canon. If you get enough laughs, you're like, yeah, sure, that's what happens. But Fate truly is designed for us to like, hey, I'm gonna pull that thread for you, because we all know everybody wants to be the hero, everybody wants to succeed, but failure makes so much of a better story. And because we've all been doing this for so long, we all understand that, and we know when's the optimal time. Like, all right, yeah, this is going well and this will be a satisfying route. But if we tug on this just a little bit and add that little spice to it, it's going to take it to that next level where you're getting that much deeper into the story and allowing it to grow in just such a natural, organic way. Because, yeah, we have the fun. It's like, oh, fate point and right-hand man, so you can't get out of the car. Yeah, it's nice to have those shits and gigs. But when you're having those moments of really trying to help flesh out that character, having more than just the GM available to like impede those types of things really allows that game to shine in those mechanics.
Yeah, it feels as a listener like a more collaborative storytelling experience when you can use a fate point to literally change someone into Theo's goddaughter.
Yeah.
But like the way that I don't know if it's just there's always a moment when you're watching like a D&D podcast or something of the sort where like someone says, "Oh, I want to use this move," and you like, "Oh, I know what that does now," and you're kind of like, "Yeah, I'm in the story," and I feel like that happened really quick with the way that the moves are named in Fate Core, where it's like I might not know exactly what it does, but I know what the outcome's going to be because of you say it one time and it makes sense. Like Britt, what was your my bark is bigger than my bite, or vice versa? Like that was, it's very self-explanatory in a way, so that's very helpful for the listener as well. Episode 10 is also when Theo makes the very bold decision, I believe, to talk to the journalist and convince her that he will help her become the arch luminary of intelligence or something of the sort by having her write an article about this fight. And then he talks to Don Cucci himself and gets the letter, the flowers sent to the Gold family before Alden Gold.
I had faith in Wayland.
Yeah. I don't think you expected him to straight up murder the guy, but
it
we'll
was
see
an
what happens
accident.
there.
Did I make the thing move around? I didn't.
Yeah, you didn't make the spikes come out of the wall either. That's very true.
I did make my fist go between his face and the spikes, though. I did make that happen.
So I guess is Theo just like a overall anarchist? Like you just are basically like setting up the world to burn right now in every single thing you've done.
I want to tread lightly so I don't spoil a lot of things.
Oh, that's fair.
Because it's kind of already been teased kind of what Theo's more unspoken alternatives are here. So I don't have a problem with stating this because I feel like everybody's kind of on the same page for that now. But Theo wants to take control of some aspect of the underground. He wants to be involved in that world for the sake of he believes that he can have a better control of protecting the innocence of the area. And that's wholeheartedly his intent. But one of his aspects is the end justifies the means. And Theo is going to be a bit more of the certain extreme end of what he deems socially acceptable for the result of making sure that more innocent people are not being harmed in the process. As we see in a few episodes when the dark side of Theo comes out, when Wayland's like, all right, this fight's over. And like, oh, no. Theo is determining this fight is over, period, for good.
Yeah, self-defense, right? Yeah.
Yeah, self-defense, exactly. But yeah, so it's just one of those things like Theo does relish in the chaos, but it's more of like that controlled fire, like when you start a fire to stop a fire from expanding type thing. Like he'll do what's needed. He'll cause damage if it means in the long run it will help somebody. That's his justification, at least.
That's a really good metaphor of starting the fire to stop the fire.
Yeah.
Actually.
It's like fighting fire with fire.
Exactly.
Theo just wants to be in the room where it happens. So we are moving on to my two favorite episodes 11 and 12. It's a party split episode, so I'll just read through what happens in both. This was, both sides were a wild ride. It was incredible. So on episode 11, Sirkin and Kit kidnap Vox. Kit hotwires a car. Sirkin intimidates and then kind of charms Vox, weirdly.
Damn charisma
so that
roll.
That was wild. Which also, no, it was just wild. While they're driving to the greenhouse district, he's like, cutting him up a bit and then also becoming his best friend. Then Vox leads them to a secret entrance. Sirkin and Kit follow him down and enter into a giant space. This is two of my favorite scenes in this whole series so far is Sirkin has a flare up with the X where he kind of loses control and freaks the hell out. And Kit like is able to calm him down. And at the same time, you kind of figure out that somehow, in some way, Sirkin has met Nan back in the day or something of the sort, or at least hints to of maybe like it seems like a very core memory of his that he just kind of forgot about and was like, oh wait, in my life of absolute shit, there's someone has been nice to me, and that seems like it's, I don't know, it seems like there's gonna be a lot to come from that. That was a wild scene. I'll move on. They meet Naraya Kai, the arch luminary of something. It really says that on there. I don't know why I don't remember what she's the arch luminary of, but agriculture. Thank you. I'll change that later. We find out, Sirkin has met Nan in the past. They're taken to a holding cell at the Knights of Axiom, which I put in all caps. And the end of the episode is when Kit meets her dad, who doesn't recognize her, and she doesn't introduce herself as his daughter or anything of that sort. We move on to episode 12, where at the same time that all of this groundbreaking shit is happening, Waylon straight up murders Alden Gold in the arena with the most ridiculously amazing rolls of all time. And everyone is just, I think that was the 12.
Which breaks the ladder. That's not technically something you're supposed to be able to roll that high.
Beyond breaks. 8 is the cap. 8 is where it stops. Anything beyond that is just asinine.
That was wild. That was wild.
I rolled perfect with my highest stat being a +4. So that's 4 pluses, +4, and then +2 because in order to use my ability, I need to use an aspect, which gives you a +2, and then +1 because of the power bands.
Power bands. And you guys forgot about the power bands until halfway through the fight, I think, and you were like, wait, it's been power bands this whole time. Then after that, Waylon finds out the winners are meant to be taken somewhere else as opposed to just being, friendly winners. And that's kind of how episode 11 and 12 both end simultaneously. I got to talk about episode 11 with Kit and Sirkin in basically the headquarters of the Knights of Axiom. That moment with Sirkin's flare-up was such a well done scene by both of you. It was, I guess, for Kit. Why would Kit as a character? She's like kind of does this whole, I'm a badass kind of like a tough exterior when she's not with her family, and then you have such a compassionate moment for Sirkin, who's clearly losing his shit just all over the place. What's kind of the motivation behind that?
In that particular moment, I think it was honestly, we had just walked into a space where people's eyes were all on us. And it was a threat, honestly. And I felt because we came in together, if they were to look at him in one way, they'd probably look at me the same way. So I think it was a little bit selfish, and where she was like, backed him off the ledge because she knew that she could go down like in flames as well. But also I think she's got a small soft spot for Sirkin.
Who doesn't?
Despite hating him, like I don't know. It's a love-hate thing. But I think in all honesty, it was a little selfish.
Interesting.
That is not the response that I was expecting. But it makes a lot of sense. I mean, you guys were you walked in there basically being the enemy, like instantly. Especially if you walk in with Sirkin, I feel like he's just the enemy of everybody everywhere. Unfortunately, sorry, Sirkin.
Walking into a place with me can make you feel like you're walking with a loaded gun. Now imagine the loaded gun collapses and starts growling at itself. And now you're all alone. I get the survival instinct.
Yeah.
And then
I was just
right after that. Oh no, you go.
Glad to use the opportunity for it gave me such a great opportunity to initiate the tease for Nan, because I knew that something with Sirkin is how intentional I try to be with how I treat every character, and what every character knows exactly where they stand with me, and what they mean to me. So ever since originally the Nan bit in the second episode was a joke to misdirect Brit to make her think I was going to say her and then switch it to Nan. And which
was amazing.
And then after it became like, all right, I've made this hard commitment. Ever since then, I'd been toying with there's got to be something extra special about Nan for him to have felt something just seeing her. And so I knew I wanted to start layering the possibilities for what that reveal could be. And so this dangerous moment in such a vulnerable place, Kit reaching out to me, was just the stars aligned for that moment to just come out. It was great.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, I think that was one of the best, one of my favorite scenes in the whole series so far. Right after that, you meet Naraya. Already forgot her last name, even though it's in my notes. Kai, thank you. Sorry, I'm terrible with names, so I had to go back and write everyone down. I tried to figure out what the name of the elevator guy was, but I don't think he was ever named. He was just sad guy in elevator. Was it Tim?
Yeah, they're all Tims.
They're all Tim.
Oh, yes. Okay.
They don't get names until later.
Yeah, if you're in a bellhop outfit, you're a Tim.
Wow, that is a very
it's a very weird rank structure, but it's how it is.
What's the
established they're allowed to spell it differently if they want to. They're allowed to individualize.
You're all Tims, so you become Chads, and then once you become.
I really like the idea that tradition like goes on during Wayland being involved, but just not knowing. You know what I mean? Like Wayland's like, what a bunch of respectable lads. You know, look at them getting along.
It's a very his name is Robert Paulson kind of moment. So right after that, you meet Naraya Kai, and she has a very just like offhand sentence that I felt like was really important, because she was like, I get why Kit's here, but Sirkin, I don't understand at all of how you're playing into this. And the whole time, like this whole group of like underground assassins / politician people, you've got all this group that I get how they're together, but I don't get how Kit is like, how is Kit somehow put in this group? But then from her, like a different perspective, it's like, how the hell is Sirkin here? And it's just like, it opens up this whole like, I don't know. I don't have a question for it, but it was just like from everyone else's point of view, like it's Kit's the normal person that should be in a situation, and everyone else shouldn't be. But then it's like the exact opposite of how the group works. And I thought it was really cool.
I guess that just goes from their motivations. Like it made sense for Naraya that Kit found her way there because she thought she was chasing her father, but according to the Knights of Axiom and what they're going towards, it's in direct contrast to what the Golds are standing for. And who's right next to the Golds is Sirkin Sirocco.
Yeah.
And I'm so subtle about my presence.
So subtle.
As far as the dynamic goes for the party, I think that's something really cool too, is because like everyone is like veteran or well connected, or you know what I mean, has like a lot, and then Kit just like happens to sit in here. I think the cool thing that happens with that is like, and you see it like start to really bud in season 2, which I've liked, is like Kit has got herself mixed into this, and then in season 2 we're really playing with like, you're mixed into this, and like what does that mean for you, and what does that mean for us? Because like on one hand, we're not babysitting you. Obviously, you're competent, but on the other hand, it's like you don't really know what's going on. You know what I mean?
You're looking down the barrel of several different possibilities of your life based on the decisions you're about to make. You know,
we're
we're the worst Christmas ghosts.
but like at the end of the day, like we're all kind of decided to support each other for whatever reason. But at the main thing, right, it all kind of centers around this kid that's just down on her luck and trying her best, right? And we are all, for whatever reason, like dedicated to like trying to help her for our own selfish means. But like what is she doing here? Like, and do you want to still be here? Like, that's like it, I feel like it made this like cool like pseudo main character role, because it is the sore thumb, you know.
My perspective of Kit is she is what's keeping this the criminals of this group from going off the deep end. I think there's a lot of ways that arguably people in like these characters in this circumstance, having somebody like Gold being such a prominent problem that they all want removed, that they would go above and beyond and not worry about the consequences of their actions, just eradicate that problem. I think Kit's kind of become that light in the dark that reminds them, like, and I think Sirkin's the prime example here of Sirkin being the super, super dark character. And as Josh had stated, that he really likes that anti-hero coming to hero storyline, and so we have Kit being that antithesis of Sirkin, where she's almost the reason that he's able to make that transition happening. And I think everybody's just got that unwritten and unspoken understanding that like Kit's the reason that we haven't gone off the deep end to solve all of our problems and just deal with the anarchy that comes out of it, because Kit's that innocence that at the end of the day we're all there to protect, and she's just that walking persona of it.
Yeah, it's hard to do the really gross stuff in front of someone like that, you know?
That just made me realize we've really seen how each of us handle a situation on our own. Like my storming of Havens, the fight night, the
wow, yeah.
Sure. Actually, yeah. You know what? It's really weird that you say that, because Kit, in a way, is an audience member. In a sense, Kit is an audience member because, like Kit doesn't kill people, Kit doesn't steal from people, Kit doesn't lie to people, Kit doesn't manipulate people, right? So when Kit walks in on us doing our regular scumbag shit and goes, "What the fuck are you doing?" We're like, yeah, wait, am I ashamed of this? You know, I think
am I
actually
feeling remorse?
Have I forgotten to be ashamed of this?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I think that is like a really cool thing that it's not been like necessarily something that we've on purpose had, but Kit like will call you out on something that seems normal in your world, and it's like, oh wait, yeah, that's super not fucking normal.
She doesn't let Kit doesn't let accountability pass by anybody. It's pretty much her bread and butter.
I do like the
that sounds about
explanation
right.
that Kit is the audience, which I think is the best way to kind of describe that pseudo story that's kind of always there in most storytelling in some way, shape, or form. Because everybody, when you're watching it, you need that person to relate to. And I think the criminals of the group are really playing those over fantasized, like, yeah, this isn't realistic, but Kit's the feasible. Kit's the person that all of us can actually step into the shoes, like, oh, I'm doing all of these things that this character is doing. So she's that grounding for the audience to be able to be like, oh, I am in this story and I can live this story through Kit, and it doesn't break the what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know what word I'm looking for.
Sexiness.
Correct. That's exactly what I was looking for there. Thank
Sexy
you.
Centennial.
Look, we'll put it this way.
Sexy Centennial.
We'll put it this way. She is our moral compass, and we're slowly turning her south.
Correct.
Instead of the other way around.
Well, there's so
wanna-
much more of you.
But at the same time, she's going a little south. We're some of us are getting pulled north. So
Yeah, there we go.
Well, the funny
We're
thing
aiming for
is-
a clean west.
we
Al and I are the same age.
Oh,
Al and
I
Kit are the
forgot
same
about
age.
that.
Yeah, but Al's a criminal.
hey, look,
he doesn't
you
have a
gotta do what you
record.
gotta do to survive. All right,
Yeah,
and
I
that's
feel like
harmless
like
criminal
it's-
stuff.
But it kind of tells the story of like two different paths
Mhm.
ended up two
Yeah.
different ways.
Yeah,
Huh.
totally.
So
It's like
That's-
you're hitting your Alsvid arc right now.
Ooh,
Ooh.
Stay tuned.
you're in your Alsvid era.
broken into
Um,
enough cars already.
Stay
That's
tuned.
fair. Yeah, 100% more than you have in the past.
Someone can't, even though they have a max burglary stat. I hate him.
It's okay. My crafts just obliterates everything else.
Not fair. Who let that happen? Oh, me.
So
One of my
In the
one of my
cage fight-
stunts is what is it?
The plus
Always
two
making
to-
useful
yeah,
things.
The car monkey
Yeah.
or the
Grease monkey.
Grease monkey.
grease monkey.
Mhm.
car monkey.
Just immediately do
not a
whatever I
car boy.
want.
That classic phrase, car monkey.
No.
So moving over to episode 12 with that cage fight, when I don't know, did all of you that weren't in it, I guess, Josh and Britt, did you guys watch their episode, or did you just hear about it from them?
We heard about it the next week.
Wild.
I don't think that's true. I think you guys wanted to watch it live. I think we gave
at the time of recording we had.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah,
got it. Okay.
Yeah.
That was, first of all, it was insanity. And the fight was crazy, but I think I was working while watching it on TV, and when Alden Gold died, I think I just really loudly just went, "Oh shit!" and was just like I couldn't believe it, and it was, I don't know, that was craziness. I was not expecting that to happen. You're all gonna die now for the 100th time, but I don't know. I don't have any questions about it because I was just like shook by the whole thing that happened.
I am shooketh.
And then the next episode, actually, well, in 2 episodes, when Theo starts just cleaning up is terrifying as well. But we get to episode 13, where Kit is consoled by Naraya. Sirkin unveils his plans to trap Mr. Gold, which is insanity, to find his father, who sold his kids into Gold's service to pay off debts, which is even more insanity. Then Naraya tells them that this timeline wasn't supposed to happen, and that they figured out from these tomes of this author that happens to be the same damn book that you got in the first episode, which blew my mind. And then Waylon and Theo kill Ren Jepsen. I forgot about that part. That small detail where you kill an arch luminary.
I do want to comment on that briefly.
I just wanted my prize money, by the way.
Give me my lifetime supply of ice cream.
Circling back to Austin's comment at the very beginning, where he's like, you just do things and I don't understand why. That decision was important because I recognized that Theo wasn't going to be the limelight arc in that first season. And so I needed it to be understood because I expected season 2 where I would got to do the more darker side of Theo. And I hate when you have a character in season 1 and season 2, they're a polar opposite. You're like, where the fuck did this come from in the slightest? And so I try to do like little teases throughout like the first season for it to be like, oh, okay, so Theo's got something like going on that's kind of fueling this a little bit more. And I didn't think that was going to be how I was going to tease what was going on but it got to that circumstance where Waylon's like, all right, it's over. And I thought for a moment here, I was like, it could be over. Would Theo walk away from this, or would Theo end this problem here and now? And I didn't think there was no second thought after that. I was like, yep, home strike. That was insanity. Stop killing arch luminaries for one, if you guys want to have a season 3. That was my immediate thought afterwards. I was like, I can't wait to see the live tweets of this reaction. I was like, I'm waiting for Farles so I can get that text of like, what the fuck are you doing?
You need that.
Actually, to speak on character thoughts.
My dad.
To speak on character thoughts, when Theo did that, it was like Waylon started to kind of, how do I put it? Like my perception of Wayland is like more business. Like I feel like Wayland was getting really like comfortable like socially, but that happened and it was like, this isn't going to be like a family gathering type relationship. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Ooh.
So like Wayland is kind of like from my perspective, Wayland is going to be like a lot more business and a lot more like calculated from like now on as far as that's concerned, because it feels like there was like, oh, we were sharing meals together and we were laughing and like I was kind of letting walls down, and it was like kind of like, a moment to recede there and to make sure that I plan my moves a lot more carefully.
Oh, Theo's feelings are now hurt.
Theo doesn't know that.
I think it's like
like I don't.
Right in the beginning of like episode 14, when Theo starts cleaning up the crime scene and brushing under the nails and all that, you said you were like, Wayland is terrified of him or something of the sort, because that's horrifying. Like there's like a complete 180. It's
yeah,
nuts.
it was like for Wayland, it was like going into that fight, and I think I might have said that on stream. I don't know if I did or not, but like Wayland's perspective, like from pretty much as soon as we split the party, Wayland was thinking like, how can Wayland keep this guy alive? You know, like he's like, how do I make sure that no matter how hairy this gets, that like I don't have to worry about Theo like getting like kidnapped or killed or something, right? And then when Theo joined the fight and was competent, like he had like a sign of like I let my shoulders down and I was able to just focus on me and make the fight happen. I felt like confident, like he could carry himself. And then when that happened, I was like, oh shit, like he's a killer. He feels comfortable killing, right? And then he started like cleaning up the crime scene, and Wayland goes like, this guy has killed a lot before me. Like maybe this guy's killed a bunch before, you know. And so like Wayland went from like this book smart, you know, kind of guy that is looking out for his city is maybe like a really comfortable killer, and that was really.
Why do I keep hanging out with serial killers?
Well, that's also why Sirkin has been nonplussed about anything Theo has done. Theo and Sirkin come from similar cloths,
from the same cloth.
Yeah, it's like Sirkin's always known this is the person Theo's capable of being.
Shit.
Yeah, I think that that's something that like gets overshadowed because obviously like I've got like a lot of fighting and stuff like in my background and like, but like my alignment is not evil. You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to clean up the streets in the same way Theo is, but like by bolstering and educating the thugs. You know what I mean? Giving them suits, giving them, you know what I mean,
Theo
a way
plans to do the same thing.
Yeah, you know. And obviously Wayland isn't like opposed to killing, but it's a lot more of a self-defense kind of thing, you know what I mean? Like like I will say that the cage match killing thing that I really felt I was dangling off the thing. This guy's trying to kill me. You know, I was more or less trying to end the fight. Did I plan on Saitama punching him? No, I was not planning on that.
I just want to point out, if this was a movie or a TV show, the moment we would have turned our back on him, one of us would have been stabbed in the back. Theo just removed that timeline possibility.
And all of his timeline possibilities, to be fair.
And his fingerprints.
I have it written here. It says, in 4 days, Wayland has gone from solitary warehouse punching guy to Spider-Man falling on college student to anti-technology grandpa to Captain Hook to arch luminary murderer. If Wayland's holding a grudge against the people that did him wrong, they're fucked. That is exactly what I wrote down.
Yeah, we haven't gotten into Sigurd's Reach as far as like the upper echelon and the involvement in that, and I'm totally happy to take my turn as far as like having that stuff unravel. But I think that, like at least in my head, it's gonna play out a lot more like, you know, a samurai movie where it's like a conversation that may or may not go violent, but I don't want it to be a war. I want it to be like a 101 mano a mano thing. Because I feel like that's how Wayland would want it. You know, he doesn't want to involve all of the people that are going to be affected by it. Like he's taking accountability for like his mistakes, essentially.
I do have a question for
Theo,
you guys.
he wants us to kill all but one of them so that he can
I'm very curious from your guys' perspective, how much longer of this campaign do you think there is? Because at the moment, I'm thinking it's either 3 seasons or 2 seasons in the movie. Right. And I think the movie is going to be the time jump of After the Air Breathes, where we come back for like a 6-hour session and talk about what our character has been doing in the meantime and how things have changed.
Everyone started a family, moved into the suburbs and have a dog.
Yeah. I definitely think that when the appropriate opportunity comes up, we'd all be happy for a time jump. to
Josh has requested so
square
many.
away. I have.
I think
really
that-
have.
I
He's
really
like, can
think
we
that,
let the city breathe?
Because
You know,
we play it in real, actual time. This whole campaign has been minute for minute.
That's
I
amazing.
genuinely think though, like given like how our aspirations are slowly starting to weave into each other, I think that like it can go for obviously as long as we want to, but
Mhm.
if it only was 2 seasons, I think we could tie up all those bows in that time.
I can wholeheartedly see this whole city falling to the earth.
I want to go. I've been actually saying this since session 0. I want to go to Earth so bad.
That's season 3, bud.
Do we have? Yeah.
I want to go to Earth
You
so
have
bad
to.
in like a space suit.
That's how we all
That's
die.
the movie.
That's our Fallout campaign.
I want to fight.
saying
I
the
want
same
to
thing.
fight
That's the
weird.
sequel
Episode
to the
of
movie.
or whatever.
Cloudscape in space.
Oh, cloud space. So I have a questions for Britt. Let's see, hold on. I've got questions for Britt, Josh, and Lucas for episodes 13 and 14 together. I'll start with Josh. For episodes 13 and 14, Sirkin is just like turning into a mastermind of plotting and getting everyone on his side. Question 1, where's the book? Do you have the book with you at the Knights of Axiom place?
Oh, the My Journeys book.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's back at my home.
Gotcha.
It's safely
And-
tucked away. The book I was been carrying with me was my book on tying knots.
Oh
Okay,
yeah,
brains.
right, okay. And there was a moment, and we'll get to this in a second with Kit, but when you can obviously see everything everywhere all the time, and you see that moment happen with them, and you say you're talking to some person, and like you're just like bawling into your hands. I thought that was like the best scene
Thank you.
ever. Also, probably crying blood, as I think Austin had mentioned.
Yes.
Sirkin seems like you've like as the stories progressed, they've found like a bunch of different hobbies or not hobbies, but like interests that are like, wait, I don't just have to interrogate people and torture people. I could learn about plants, and you just keep like you start off with like a book about there's no pain receptors in the brain. I think that's wrong. Let's read a book about it. Like I don't know. It's been. I feel like he's having a glow up, and I think we're all here for it.
It's actually one of my character aspects is scholarly aspirations. So
Cool.
that is something that's one of those things that I selected very early on that I've wanted to build with Sirkin is that he's always ready to learn more, because his whole job, his whole life has been about learning the truth, learning things. And it's just a matter of which way he goes about it. Still
Right.
satisfied.
Yeah, he goes about it the wrong. I feel like a weird way sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's not a better spot to end the season than in a place where everyone's teaching you about botany and making doors move or whatever.
Oh, I've already got so many plans for how to use it. Already.
It's awesome.
Sorry, Bozer.
Lucas,
Yep.
you in episode 14, you pretend to be a body, right? You pretend to be a body.
Yep.
So that you can like get more info, and then you like promptly are like, "I'm not a body anymore. I'm your friend. Let's go hang out and let's find out some more information." Like that was the sneakiest shit ever. That could have gone wrong in so many ways. Like every couple minutes, you guys are almost like putting yourself into a situation where you could die, but your character's just like, "I want to find out some information. I'm going to be a body."
It's
the
what
feet rolls.
it's what I feel like I can do.
Like I was fully prepared to have you stabbed mercilessly in that moment, Lucas, but you just kept rolling so well on burglary and deception. And I was like, okay, you're invisible. Nobody can see you.
And to preface this, when they did the split episodes, I saw and heard nothing until I actually sat down and we started recording.
Mhm.
I had
He
no
could
idea.
have.
That's amazing.
He could have. He chose not to.
Yeah,
Called
They were
out.
like, you want to know what happened? And I was like, no, don't tell me.
That's I mean, I don't know. I was like sweating as you were like being gurneyed around and like hiding and trying to listen to the Mrs. Gold's conversations. That was brutal for me. But Britt, aka Kit, especially the last episode was fucking heartbreaking. That was crazy. And I know you said it on the stream that it was an accident to say his name, but I feel like that was like story wise, that was perfect. That was like the most incredible thing that could have
Watching
happened.
her panic cover her mouth was the best part.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I in that moment was like, oh fuck. And then Tobias.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the cough. Then you rolled like a 2 or something.
-2.
Negative
2. I don't know. That was probably one of the most emotional moments in my TTRPG career. Like, I haven't been playing that long, but like, damn, I am attached to Kit and her family and her story. And I was in that moment, I was Kit, and like,
that was one of my all-time favorite moments, because like you said, it like in that moment, it wasn't Bozer and Britt. Like everybody went away. We went ourselves away. It was Tobias and his daughter. And like, again, the roles, I can't say it enough. I don't see these kind of faded roles when I play D&D. Somehow, in some way, stars are aligning for this campaign in the story, where I can't believe you said the name on accident. I thought it was planned until after we were done recording. She's like, "Oh my god, you guys, that was a complete accident."
Yeah.
I'm actually such a sucker for like just emotional moments in general. Like in movies or whatever, like people will be like, "That movie sucked." I was like, "Yeah, that was such a stupid movie." You know, I'm one of those guys, and and while that scene was happening, like I could see they were both kind of getting into it, getting a little misty-eyed, and I was sitting there, and I don't even know exactly, but I think I was like holding my face, and I was just thinking in my head over and over, "Don't say kitten, don't say kitten. I'll lose my mind if you say kitten." And he didn't, and I was like, "Nice." I'm so manly right now.
Can I ask Britt? I know that you had like all this angst against your dad because you thought he left, but when you found him, like, what did you expect was going to be like the instance or the circumstances around it?
Very kind of similar to what he was into, but it wasn't like. It was more he hid because he either owed people a lot of money or he had to work for someone in order to pay off that debt. So like he didn't want to bring us into it, so he kind of removed himself.
Like junkie kind of trope.
Yeah. Kind of like so when he wasn't, I think Kit's like walls immediately went down. Like I knew it. Like I knew, like she knew in the back of her head he wouldn't have left to just run away from something. So, but I think she put that like, oh yeah, that's what he did because he doesn't like us and all this stuff. Because she would rather think the worst of him, than think something actually happened to him.
Hey, just out of curiosity, how's your relationship with your actual parents?
Great. I mean, like anyone, I go to therapy, but no, I have a pretty great relationship with my parents. So I think that honestly might have been the reason why I was so attached to that situation. Like the father, like son, like father-daughter thing. And that might have been the reason why I was a little bit more emotional. So
I thought whole time for the last like 5 episodes, I thought your dad was the leader of the Knights of Axiom and was just like into some hardcore shit, like down there starting a revolution. I was not expecting it.
Too. That was in my mind too, that he was like, he basically was Naraya, like that. instigator of things, and that's why he got in too deep, and that's why he hadn't come back. But honestly, I feel like it not being that way was a surprise, but a good surprise.
Yeah.
I'd say props to Bowser. I feel like this story didn't really have any kind of sweetness, you know? Like, I feel like that was like a sweet moment where like there was like times where like we were like getting like maybe into feels or into emotional territory with things or being vulnerable even, but there was no like sweetness until then.
Yeah, that's fair. Except for any moment with Nan, really. I mean,
yeah.
And
And
it was like
I wish I could take credit for that, but I really can't because, like, in my mind, there was not going to be any recollection on Tobias' part for way down the road. But she said the word and he rolled like shit. I'd rolled for that. I didn't decide that he remembers. The dice did, and I was like, well, damn, we're doing this now. And that's my favorite part.
Yeah,
I was not ready for it emotionally, and I was like,
I don't think.
But even like calling Nan like sweetness, it's like cute and it's fun, but it's NPC sweetness is way different, you know, than like sweetness coming from a player. Like, because like again, as a DM, like you give your players these things to interact with in different ways, right, to draw on emotions and build connections. But like having like a scene that was just like super sweet and touching, like that's hard to pull out.
And on the fly, there was nothing planned. There was nothing. There was like, oh, we meet in the kitchen. Oh shit, you're my dad. Like, I don't think Bowser or I were ready for that moment.
But that can't happen without the great safe space that we've all created together. And Farles, you said it before anybody did. Even after listening to the first episode, you commented on the Discord. It feels like you guys have been playing together for years. And I know that that's exactly how I feel. Like, I'm so comfortable with all these people, and all but 2 of them I've actually spent any time with. Like, most of us, we've never actually met in real life, and we only see each other once a week. And these are my favorite people right here.
I will say I have met Bowser in real life, so I'm ahead of the curve.
I now know you better than Josh, Britt, or Austin.
And Lucas.
Whoa. I've seen him at a wedding and some other stuff.
I was asleep behind a tree at that point.
T's committed
That's
to never
a good wedding.
He told
Listen, I like the idea of being so close to these absolute strangers that I could feasibly walk by in public and not know it's them.
It's okay. If T ever saw me in public, he'd probably run the other way. We've established that I would fight him, bare knuckle box him.
That's fair.
I
guess
100%
overall,
believe I would walk by Josh and have no idea it was him.
Yeah, you'd have to hear me laugh.
That's 100%
You'd
what
be
it
like,
is.
oh,
man.
he's around somewhere.
It's like, fuck, Sirkin's here.
Oh my god.
And then I would promptly run away.
Overall, you guys have played 14 episodes, well, that I've seen of Fate Core. How would you rate this? You don't have to give a rating or anything, but like, do you like Fate Core better than other, like better than D&D, better than other like similar Powered by the Apocalypse games? Like, what is your take on it after playing it for a while?
With Bowser probably as the GM.
Yeah, absolutely.
So like Brit, I have not played all that much. I played D&D. I played City of Mist, which is Powered by the Apocalypse, and it's in a lot of ways Fate Core is similar to that to me. Like, instead of aspects, you have story tags and you have ways of leveling up, but almost the things that maybe annoyed me about the limitations of City of Mist, Fate Core bridges those gaps. Like, it creates enough freedom in the storytelling that, like City of Mist and Power of the Apocalypse, you can say what happens and it happens. But also, like D&D, there seems to be a lot more structure. And I wanted something where you couldn't just say, I look around and I see this. I'm like, no, I want you to roll for it. So I'm glad that Fate Core allows notice checks, or we call them perception just for colloquialism's sake. So I do enjoy the system a little bit more than I do City of Mist, but comparing it to D&D, it almost feels like apples and oranges. Like it's a little difficult to just say this one's better because they just are stronger in different settings, and they're meant for different settings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's totally fair. I as a listener, I enjoy when someone says, "Oh, I want to go to see this," and then the the GM's like, "Oh, well, describe it to me. What is it called? What is it?" And then you collaborate together on building the world. It's just something about that. I don't really get that in D&D. I mean, you could probably do that, but it's not really baked into kind of the core of it. And so it's really, it feels more collaborative when there's something like this that's done. What about, I guess, player wise? We can start with Austin. What do you think?
I think because I go from primarily running games, so as a player, I think I might have the hottest, or not hottest take, but the most critical take on Fate. In just being as someone who runs a bunch of games, a lot of my players aren't engaged in role play. If I'm getting them in the game, they like to play the story and follow along, and they learn their characters and how they work and stuff. But I don't get world out of them, and I love it. You know what I mean? That's why I focus a lot on it as a player, thinking about my convictions and stuff. But when I'm actually playing the game, I don't really get a lot of world out of them, and so I have to bring the world to them. And you can't really bring the world to someone in this game.
Right?
They have to have an idea of what they want in their character and what they want to bring to the world to play it good. And so on two sides of the coin of D&D, there's a lot more rules to read right out of the gate with D&D. But there's a syllabus you can follow, and you can just play generic characters and go through the encounters, right? As you're kind of ushered along. Versus with Fate Core, the game is basically just saying hey dude, you can do whatever you want, and you can do whatever you want in D&D. But in this game, it's you have to do whatever you want. You know what I mean?
Right.
You don't have the option to just I swing my mace, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're gonna be bored playing that game unless you bring the creativity and the improv to the game.
I've never felt
that's
so
a very
called
good point.
out.
I can see you being so looking so uncomfortable in the corner.
No.
So I'm curious for you, Lucas, then.
All right, so I play a lot of D&D and a lot of Pathfinder. So I'm used to having the structure. And if you've seen the City of Mist campaign, I didn't do so hot in that, I feel like. And I had my moments. I will say that.
You did.
And I'm starting to have my moments here. I don't know what it is, cuz as a player or as doing one-shot DMing, I can do it. I know I can. I don't know what it is.
You can't min-max in Fate.
That is a slander that T started.
And
it's not entirely wrong, but it's not entirely true.
I just brought it to everybody's attention.
Look, I did it once. Okay.
You sucked it once.
I feel like as a player though, I've definitely playing City Mist put me in an uncomfortable kind of mindset and idea, building and being a part of this story more. So playing City of Mist and then coming to this definitely helped me out. I would probably rate this under D&D though, because D&D is my one true love. I love it,
and that tracks for you and the kind of player you are.
And
the kind of game player you're used to.
Yeah, and it's also playing with you guys and playing City Mist and playing Fate has definitely improved my roleplay aspect of my D&D campaigns I'm in now, and it's been noticeable. Everybody's made comments on it, so I don't know. I've enjoyed it for sure, but I would definitely say D&D's on top for me, and then we'll put Fate and then City of Mist. Unfortunately, it was a very rough time for me.
That's what happens when you wait till 5 episodes in to have a character sheet.
Well,
Britt, Josh, T, what do you guys think of Fate Core? How is it compared to things that you've played in the past? What are your feelings on it as a system?
I have played a lot of TTRPGs in the last, however many months, ever since, you know, I got introduced to 4 Geeks by Geeks. They have introduced me and the rest of our team to a bunch of different TTRPGs because there are more TTRPGs than D&D, and I had to remind myself of that. So I've played anything from like Powered by the Apocalypse to, you know, now we're doing things with the RPG project where we're trying Printweaver and just very complicated things and very simple things. And Fate stands out to me because I've realized I like role-playing a lot more than I like combat. I'm not a combat person. And the more simplistic it is, to me, that's better. And honestly, this has left it so open that it just makes it more enjoyable than putting it in a box. Which I feel Bozer has given us, as well as just the rules of this game. So for me, it trumps like D&D. As much as D&D was like the first game that I started with, it's up there. And I feel like even as a newbie like GM, it's very appealing to that as well, because sometimes as a GM, like, you feel like you're always making it up. It's always your, and sometimes you're like, it's your story too. And to be able to give that power to the players is a beautiful thing.
Well, I just really quick, it's not like giving it to the players, like with Fate, like it's in the players' hands, and the players have to take it. Because in D&D, I feel like I try constantly to give that power to players, but they have the option to not take it. Right? Whereas like that's where this game is the opposite. Right?
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. And I think you have to have the right people to play this game in order for it to work.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. Yeah.
When we did our auditions, we specifically said we want a role play heavy game, narrative driven. So if that's what you're looking for, come audition. And that's what brought us the most amazing people out here.
It's the reason I auditioned.
Cool.
For me, this is Fate is a system built for someone like me. I'm an improviser, so giving me the reins to a game where unless something has been explicitly said no, it's available to me at all times is just too much power for someone like me to resist.
That's fair.
So I love that. Whereas there's a different challenge to D&D and Pathfinder that I really like. It's I've been unfortunately mostly with murder hobo teams for those where role playing is what I'm more interested in, more my jam. So my job at the tables for those D&D and Pathfinder games was always to bring the role play I was providing it for the party.
Right.
And so being able to do a game like this where it's just everybody has the same intention, we're coming in, we know we have to take the reins of our own story and just work in that yes and of improv and trust that everybody you're doing these scenes with has your best intentions as well as their own. It's great. It's perfect for me. It's Fate's top tier for me.
Awesome. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. T, what do you got?
I think Fate is an incomplete game. I think it is intended to be a game inside of a game that adds more options to a TTRPG that doesn't necessarily have the implemented character-driven aspects of a game, and it's more mechanical heavy. I think Fate is in that rule light enough you can slot that into whatever type of game you need it to be to kind of help open the world up, to kind of help flesh it out. D&D is not a great example because obviously there's lore in an infinite amount to D&D, but Fate Core is not something that you bring to a newbie table. It's it's way too broad. There's not enough rules, and as Austin can attest, as much as you try to put that type of thing into a player's hands, you're either going to have to be sitting at the table for your first time, wanting that to be what you want, or you're going to have to break past that, what every player does, break through your comfort level of role playing in character, getting into it, and feeding off of each other's energies. And I don't think Fate is something you introduce people like, hey, I want you to try TTRPGs. Fate, I think, would probably turn people away from TTRPGs if they don't have a lot of experience, because it's too much on the player side. You 100% can have the DM run in a larger quantity, but the way Fate is kind of written and established, it's a collaborative table. You're yes-anding, you're no-butting, and you're just continuing off of the next person and running it. So I think Fate is something you slot into, like, if you want to do like a Warhammer game, for example. Warhammer is going to be a very, very mechanically technical enhanced game, but if you wanted to add a life to that, you would plug in a Fate system just on top of that, because you can just swap out dice to whatever you need to be, and you have a narrative way to add into a world that may not have a narrative backing to it without having to break the game and come up with your own game live all at the same time.
Actually, to attest to that, I did a one-off on D&D where I used the Fate aspects as inspiration.
Okay.
So I got them
Nice.
to write 3 or 4 character traits, and then if they could apply those, or if I could apply them negatively into the game, I would give them an inspiration dice to use in that moment. But I would also use those inspiration dice to go against him. So, like, say, like, it's a character that, like, I will never hit a woman. I introduce a female character, and they attack him with that plus 1d6. Because that is against that trait, and then they can use that to, then they get, like you said, or the way it works, right? Is I invoke, or you invoke, I compel, right? So I would compel, you can't hit a woman, and I would make it harder by adding that d6, and then you get that fate point, that inspiration point to
Good idea.
use also in your character traits.
That's smart.
Interesting.
Yeah, I used it again with a roleplay heavy table.
Yep.
And it was it was really fun.
Wow.
But see, like, exactly what you're saying. Like, I'm realizing, like, this is not a newbie table, except Britt, for the most part, is the most newbie, but she's not newbie. And then all of you have either played for years or you played Fate before. Because remember when we played Black Paper Moon for that one off
So
as
fun.
review? It was so fun, but my brother-in-law was at that table.
Hated
And
it.
he is not a TTRPG role player at all. And he struggled so much. He's like, what am I supposed to do? I'm like, what do you want to do? It's like, I want you to tell me what I want to do, because I just want to roll what I'm supposed to. And he really struggled with it. And I can imagine trying to put him into a Fate system.
It's
Would
just
just
something you
crumble.
have to train yourself to understand. Like, so many things, and this is going to open up just a whole nother conversation, but there's a lot of things in life just in general you're kind of spoon fed, so you are aware of like what your options are. They may not be blatantly set out, but you know A, B, and C, D are present. But when you're in something like Fate Core, like, there's literally an infinite amount of things that you can do, and that can just be a crippling thing because it's just an overwhelming amount of options. Like, think how often do you sit down and like watch, pull on Netflix and like, I don't know what the fuck to watch. I'm going to doom scroll for the next 45 minutes because there's just too many options.
Yeah.
But next thing you know, you're looking at your DVD collection, which is, we all know, much smaller now because of today's day and age, going from 9,000 different options to, I've got 19. That one catches I'll catch that one, because it becomes so much more limited. Having that
great way to explain it.
Having that understanding of that you can do anything could just be so debilitating to people because they like,
For sure.
what do you mean by like anything? I mean, you can go kick a donkey in the dick if you want, like.
But it's like, it's more than that though, because when you play D&D, you're a cleric, right? And this is the cleric abilities, and then you get your subclass, and then you pick your spells. That's what they do, right?
Yep.
When I made a geezer with a grappling hook, I had to decide what my attacks work and how they work. I had to decide the things that the DM was going to compel me and what I was going to use to become stronger. Right? It's not just like I'm picking options and getting results. Like I have to decide the mechanics of my character.
No, and that's a very
so
prime
much
example.
responsibility. Yeah,
Totally.
I've been playing for 10
New
plus
players need
years now.
structure.
I couldn't make this fucking character. I did not understand stunts because it was too fucking broad. I had to have several of you hold my hand to help walk me through writing out these stunts because like I knew what I wanted the character to do, but to then take these abilities and write a catchphrase for them, it just was one of those things like I don't fucking know. Like I had the concept of Theo and what I wanted him to be, but when you told me, okay, now sit down and write out what those exact things are, what the fuck do you mean I gotta sit down and write this out? Like I felt like Lucas, like, no, fuck this character sheet. I ain't doing the goddamn thing.
Which is why I only have 2 stunts. Ask me to make a D&D character, it'll be done in 5 minutes. Ask me to do City of Mist or this, no. Fuck me. Okay.
And I think the other issue is D&D being the everybody's go-to catch-all. There's no other system where you have websites that hold your hand making a character sheet. You
Very
can't
true.
play any other game that gives you a step-by-step basis of input these things here, this goes here, these are your options. There may be other things out there. I can't name another TTRPG that has that many available resources that have a computer generated system, software associated with it to just make it that simple for you.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, we have successfully gone through all 45 of my questions.
Nice.
And-
Wow.
We did it.
Yeah. We knocked them all out. We walked through basically all of season 1. I'm sure we missed some pretty interesting little moments and whatnot, but you guys will all just have to watch the damn thing so you can see it.
I do have a question for everybody though.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, hit me.
What character do you think has grown the most in this first season?
Easy. That's an easy one.
Answer
What
first
is it
then.
then?
Oh,
Yeah.
Sirkin for sure.
Grown?
Yes.
No, he's just in his element.
See, I strongly disagree.
No, I'm with T. I think it's me.
I also haven't been here. Like
Only because I know exactly where Sirkin was. I know better than anyone where I started.
And obviously, I've got a little bit of inside information of what's going on with Sirkin and a little bit more understanding of his background. But I would 100% argue that Sirkin's had the most growth because he is. We all got the ick from Sirkin immediately on episode 1. And I would almost go to say Sirkin might be a fan favorite character. If you remove Nan from the equation, I think Sirkin is just somebody that I think if we ran a poll, I think would collectively probably be one of the more higher voted characters. And as much as people like villains and are attracted to that evil vibrato, I think seeing Sirkin go from that, yeah, I'll do anything that I'm being paid to do, to now developing that conscience of, no, I'll do what I want to do. I'll take influence. I'll let other people kind of help steer and turn on a blinker. But I think Sirkin's kind of coming into that, no, this is my life and I'm going to run it how I see fit.
Sirkin had the fuel. We just needed to be the spark to make him go where he wanted to go.
Theo needed
Man,
to
all
know
these
that a long
fire
time
things
ago.
this tonight.
I'm telling you, we're bringing this thing down to earth. It's gonna be the whole thing's gonna go in flames.
I hope you do. I want to go down there. I want to see what
I
happens.
hope you.
I want to see what's down there.
You know what I want
I
to
think
see?
we-
I want to see a map of the city.
Yeah. How about we see a
That'll be the
map
next. That'll be the next
sometime?
graphic that happens. It'll be Bowser finally makes a map.
Season 3.
Nah,
And don't worry,
Can't
guys.
you-
We have more merch coming out this Thursday.
Yep.
I
Is it
don't
a
even
map?
know about this merch. We'd have merch.
Slap
We
me,
have a
Merch
lot
Daddy.
of merch
We just have
designs. We just
designs that
haven't
we haven't
released
released.
shit of it.
So, yeah, we're listening to a huge drop.
So I'm just
Oh,
going to
yeah.
speak
Sweet.
it into existence without communicating with anybody.
I will tell you, I have one of the t-shirts. I have the Head in the Clouds t-shirt, and it is so comfy.
Is it?
Like it is one of my favorite T-shirts.
I feel like I ordered one a long time ago and it's never come.
Unless you're a fat person, then our merch is not intended for you.
It's
It does have limits
nice.
on sizes. And
I
everything.
hate our merch.
The green color with the head in the clouds.
It's a good way to
is-
push it too. It's a good way to get people to buy it.
I am very vocal about my frustration.
If
with
you
our
want
merch.
some good shirts, search Dairy Public Radio on that. Quality is so fucking
Shameless plug.
out of your mind, so comfy. So if you want a comfy shirt, not like what T wants.
Does
Oh, look,
anybody
there,
else?
Amanda's still alive.
Oh yeah, there is a link there. Does anybody else have any other questions that you want asked or answered or anything from anybody?
We took some from Instagram earlier today.
Ooh.
We just got a couple. Oh, here's a good one. What's your favorite Circanism, Kit Swear, or Old Man Wayland mishap?
What's done can't be undone.
And is that directed at Farles?
A done bun.
A done
Can't
bun
be
can't be
undone. Can't be
undone.
undone.
That's it. Yep.
That's a season 2 spoiler.
Yeah, that's a tease
Oh, no.
Fuck.
for coming up. I already said mine, and it's Wayland, the old man anger in the car, trying to get out of the car.
Right hand man.
Oh man,
What's
you
been-
laughed so hard
Kit
at that.
Swears.
My favorite Kit Swear is life sometimes fucks you in
Oh,
the
yeah.
butt.
That's a good one.
It's just the choice
That
to
was-
make butt instead of ass.
Seeing
She's at a
Brit come
convenience
out
store,
in this
right?
Character is
Yeah.
my absolute favorite because you know that's how Brit communicates, and so it's those moments that we see that she breaks character and Brit is just talking.
Uh, yeah. I was
Yeah,
gonna
it's-
spoil something, but I'm not going to because I thought of
Do
another
it.
kidism. No.
Oh.
Mm-mm.
I
It
thought
is
of
a
the
big-
same one, Kit.
I know.
I
what
will
you
say
were thinking.
it's been a lot of fun to be a grumpy old man. I just I've spent my life, I worked in warehouses most of my life, so I'm just surrounded by that like uncomfortable anger, and they'll just be like a grumpy old dude and they'll stub their toe and they'll just act like everyone's against them in that moment, and I feel like
Every
got so much-
racist thought comes out.
I've got so much palpable experience of just being uncomfortable in the presence of an old man that I'm just so proud to expel onto everyone.
Oh, I remembered one of my favorite Wayland moments. You're in Theo's kitchen, and he just made dinner,
Pasta.
and he says, "I take another thoughtful bite of my pasta." Yeah.
Not pasta, pasta.
Pasta.
Oh, I
Is
forgot
that
about
literally
that.
how you say it in Canada?
Is that a Wayland thing or is that a
Pasta?
Canada thing?
pasta or pasta?
I say both. It depends on where it is in the sentence, I guess, or what syllables or not syllables, what vowels are around the word.
Yeah.
I wanna unwrap that so bad.
No, it's you know what I mean.
No, makes perfect sense. No follow-up
doesn't-
necessary.
Yeah, if it doesn't feel comfortable to say pasta there, because sometimes you say pasta and you feel like pasta, but sometimes it's pasta.
Honest to God, I've never felt like that once.
You've never once said pasta and thought pasta.
How
But I-
pretentious am I right now?
What
Like-
delicious pasta?
Pasta.
I take back my
Mm.
previous statement. I do want to meet Austin.
It's gonna haunt my vernacular forever now.
Yeah. I don't
Oh,
know,
it's
I
the
just feel
only
like
thing I'm going to think now. What do
I
you want
just
for
feel
dinner?
Oh.
Pasta.
pasta. Oh, give me the
yes,
pasta.
Pasta.
Do you have any
Quite.
parmesan for my
I just want to
pasta?
make him say against and about and all
Against?
those words.
Wait, against, about,
Say against.
against. Really?
Again.
Yeah,
Against?
but
No,
you
you say it
really say it.
against.
You say again.
You say
Yeah,
against.
against.
And-
Against.
and you
yeah,
said a
against.
boot.
Against. This is
Against.
against.
That's my favorite thing. I don't I don't
It's
point it out
spelled
because
again.
I don't want him to feel awkward about having just the Canadian accent with a bunch of Americans. But it always brings me back is when the Canadian accent comes out and I get so giddy inside. I'm like, another one.
But
Another
again,
one.
but with the about a boot stuff, again, it's the same with the pasta.
It's
pasta
the
thing.
syllables.
It has to it's the vowel sounds around the sentence. It just happens naturally.
Your
Like,
ADHD is showing because it emphasizes how quickly your brain is moving as you're speaking in real time. So you're consciously thinking about which way you're going to pronounce these
Well,
words.
because it's just like,
depending on
sometimes
which
it's
line of a
italicized.
haiku it would be in.
Well, sometimes it's
Tells
italicized
me-
so like if I'm gonna say a boot,
Italicized,
right?
yeah.
Like that's gonna be like I'm gonna be saying something that's like definitely Canadian or fucking around. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, cause like it'll happen, it'll come out like
Sure.
fuck bud. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll say bud to you. I'm not gonna call you bud, right? I'm like, oh fuck bud. Yeah, like oh, shit.
Oh god.
Oh, she's fine. You know what I mean? Like that's like those are like those happen in specific instances. I feel like the American Canadian thing is like it's more like maybe you could consider a Canadian accent like a tick,
Honestly,
like
yeah.
a vocal tick.
As someone who lives very close to Canada, it's like a very like like on the border. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And my mom, she
Don't
works
throw away.
she works with Americans a lot. So like every once in a while she'll say something and it sounds so American out of her mouth. I'm like, who are you? Who are you trying to be right now?
I work with a lot of Canadian retail, so every time I get those area codes, I'm like, yes.
Farles, this has been so much fun, man.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Farles.
this has been great. This has been excellent. You answered all of the questions that I've been meaning to ask everyone individually.
Start
Just-
right
Now I don't have to call you.
I was just over
Yeah.
here
Really.
pinching myself because, like, I think anybody that creates a homebrew, like, the most you can ask is that your players, or if it's recorded and put out on the internet, that somebody like keens into it as much as you do. And this has just been such like a validating and such a beautiful experience. Just hearing your thoughts and seeing how you see this world that we created as an audience member and being as invested in it. It means so much. And we
Just
thank
want to
you.
point out,
bottom
Bowser,
of my
my
heart.
campaign's never had a Farrell,
Absolutely.
so clearly you're the better DM.
Well, your first one
It's-
wasn't put on the internet, and your second one
Was a flop.
was just us. We didn't bring other talented creators in with us.
I just want to point out we now have a Farrell's to show who the better DM at 4 Geeks by Geeks is.
I think
My
it's the
campaigns have always had a Farles.
players. Oh!
Oh.
That's true. I mean, it's been excellent. I've
I
said
guess
this
I'm
before.
moving
but
networks.
I don't just like chill out for anything. If it doesn't interest me, I won't watch it or listen to it more than like an episode. And this has been incredible. I mean, it's been awesome. The whole campaign, all of you working together and doing such a good job and sounding like you've been playing together for 10 years. It's really been an enjoyable thing to watch, and the characters are amazing. Just like the oh shit moments that happened all throughout the series, and then you know the phones being attacking Wayland. Like it's just all it's been really amazing, and I'm super psyched for more of it to happen. And thank you all for letting me grill you for 2.5 hours here. This has been this is a dream come true.
Yeah, I'm so grounded.
We
Until next
appreciate you, Farles.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Also, if you don't start calling me, I will be upset.
I will work on that. I also like that my screen's so big here that when I'm looking at like someone talking on my screen, I'm actually like looking at
Yeah.
them on the camera.
Worked
So
out like Brady Bunch.
yeah. Yeah,
All right, Farrell,
exactly.
how well are you comfortable with our outro?
You have an outro? I'm just kidding.
I don't have Twitch.
I
pulled up.
think,
Who are we rating?
I think I gotta say, oh yeah, should we do that first? And then I say that I'm Farles, and then you guys all say your things, and then I say keep, and then do this geeking out
Do you know
Yes,
what this
thank you.
is?
until next
got
time.
it.
It's a heart.
Is it?
Yes.
Huh.
Sarangye,
what that
which is a Korean informal way of saying I love you.
You didn't know that?
I never.
Look at Josh's
thought-
face. Look at his face.
I never noticed.
One of the founders
thought it was just like
Korean, and that's what he brought to the channel was Sarangye.
I love that.
Yeah,
Merch is
merch.
still available.
Always available. And the proceeds go
That's
to
cool.
stopaaphate.com.
Sweet. All right. Well, I know what I'm buying tonight.
Etsy/Dairy Public Radio. Thanks for the plug, Farles. I appreciate that. Thank
Oh.
you.
Oh, that's amazing.
Apparently,
All right,
someone
Farles,
misspelled the
take us
name.
out.
All right. I guess I'll start. As always, I'm Farles.
I'm Bozer.
I don't know.
I'm
T.
Austin.
Oh,
You-
Josh.
Go last.
We're professionals.
Right
He
here.
goes last.
Yeah, you wait. Hold on.
I'm in the wrong spot. You guys moved
1,
me.
2, 3.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's an inside joke. Damn it.
As always, I'm Farles.
I'm Bozer.
I'm Austin.
I'm Britt.
I'm Josh.
And I'm here.
I'm T.
And until next time, just keep geeking out.
Get out.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.